Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologize in advance for the awkward, I accidentally timed the stream the wrong time. I scheduled it, meant to schedule it at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but here we are. I see a lot of you guys already in the chat, which, awesome surprise. It's a pleasure to get to see all of you here. Daunted, Justin, I'll switch over to the face cam in just a little bit. Jonathan, let's see, Last Dayer, welcome as well. Starfield guy, appropriate name for this stream, wonderful. Pyre, welcome back, good to see you. David, no spoilers, we are not talking spoilers. However, what I will say is that I cannot guarantee, unfortunately, with this kind of thing, I cannot guarantee that someone is not going to hop in the chat and say something that will spoil the game. So, you're free to chat, but you read it at your own risk. But I will keep it as spoiler-free as possible. Ryan, I am not. Let's switch over to the camera here. Hello, everybody. Pleasure to see you. You'll notice that we just sort of have the Starfield Direct is going to be playing in the background. The reason why we're going to absolutely be talking about everything that we've seen coming from Gamescom, I have my notes. If I'm looking this way at any point, it is because I am looking at the notes that I have for the things that came out of Gamescom. And there you go. So, there's really no footage that came from this, right? I could play the Pete Hines interview and that could be going on in the background, but of course, I've never really been crazy about those streams where someone just plays the interview and then they pause it to talk about the thing that you just listened to. You guys are smart enough subscribers to understand what Pete Hines is saying. So if you want to check out the interview for yourself, then you could go listen to that. I'll be going over the highlights of it. I will absolutely, but just so you guys have something to watch, here is the Starfield footage, and I'll be doing my best to keep up. Hey, Obi, how's it going? Welcome. Jonas, thank you. Jonas, feel free to, I do need a North American moderator at some point. Jonas does a wonderful job. He's my only moderator. And also, Jonas, if you see, I'm sure you've already noticed that the stream layout is all broken. I'm not sure if that's because I changed the resolution of the camera. Because when we originally set this up, I don't know if this is what's causing it. When we originally set this up, we did it, I believe, around 1080p. And now it's at 4K, or yeah, 4K. It's a 4K camera now. So we just have to work that out at some point. KJ, how's it going? Alador, welcome. I'm so hyped. It's literally 1 week. Indeed. And Ryan, to get back to your question, I'm not under NDA. I have not received a code or a copy for this game. So I can say whatever the heck I want. No, but I've stayed away from spoilers. MacBound, thank you for stopping by. How's it going, Mac? Mac is a friend from the Renegade Realm podcast that I do every Tuesday on a channel called Red Wolf Renegade. So you can check that out if you're interested. King Fan Man, which is stupid. Thank you, King. I appreciate the support. I'm wearing my Star Wars shirt. Maybe that's why. It's because I'm wearing Star Wars and not Starfield, and they're like, nah, not a code for this guy. You know what? I'm okay with it. I assume that there's a lot going on. Not I assume. I know that there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of really talented creators who have gotten access to the game, and I don't hold a grudge against Bethesda. Obviously not against any of the creators that are talking about the game. So there you go. I get to experience it with fresh eyes, and I've talked about it in the past, in my other video where I had the vlog, the 2023, kind of the 4,000-ish subscriber vlog. I talked about how I get to experience the game with all of you guys, and that to me is equally as rewarding. I don't have to play it trying to get stuff out in time for this embargo. I can just play the game and enjoy it as I normally would, and I could plan different types of content that I might not do as a result, where I'd be cramming everything in for the review. Now I can approach Starfield differently. So Next time. There's always next time. But thank you, King. I appreciate the support. Vegas X, your channel, I check daily for Starfield updates. Thanks for keeping us updated on the game. Thank you for taking a look at the updates. I really appreciate all you guys being here. And of course, after Starfield, we got a lot of stuff to move on to. And Bethesda is always going to be the heart and soul of this channel. So if you like Bethesda games, if you like RPGs, The Witcher 4, titles like that, Mass Effect, teetering with Dragon Age. We'll see what I do with Dragon Age. But then we got all of that we're going to be covering. So look forward to all of that. Drew Crew, welcome. Ghostly Phantoms, since you're not under NDA, what are some of the things you've heard from people that have played? I've heard nothing from people that have played. And listen, so here's the thing. Let me explain, before we get into any of the Gamescom stuff, I want to be very clear about the nature of NDAs, and the nature of the games industry as a whole. So, for starters, the games industry is very, very small. People talk to one another. Community managers talk to one another. You don't want to do anything that would be disrespectful to these people who work at these companies who are giving you these codes. What I will say is that I, of course, talk to folks that have the game. You probably know some of them. They were allowed, it wasn't under the NDA that they couldn't say that they've received a review code for the game. That's why everybody was talking about it. I wanted to respect them. I did not ask anything from those people. And if I did, they would not have told me, or they should not have told me, even if I did ask, because they're not supposed to. And if they had told me, just to be very clear, if they had told me anything, I would not be sharing it, because that would be breaking their NDA completely. But to dial this all back, I haven't asked, I don't know anything, so there you go. Sorry if that's the disappointing answer, but that's the respectful one. And that is the honest one as well. So, I can't wait for Starfield either, Ghostly. So let's get into, again, for those of you who are joining, we're just going to have the Starfield direct footage. There's not a lot, there's no real footage, half the chat leaves, sure. There's no real footage that has come out of Gamescom besides Pete Hines talking in an interview chair, so at least you guys have something to watch in the background as we kind of go through it. So, a brand new interview from Pete Hines has come out today, where he sat down with Bethesda Germany, Bethesda Deutschland, and he was asked a bunch of questions. They addressed some things from chat. Of course, the Bethesda that was leading the stream, those team members had questions that they were asking, and there was a lot of great details, some of which we've heard before. Some of which we have heard before. A lot of it is nice and new. And they did very much so stay away from spoilers. So, even Bethesda, when they're talking about this, they're trying their best to say, hey, we are not talking about any spoilers as much as possible, because we want you guys to get in and we want you guys to experience the game. And I absolutely 100% respect them for doing so. So the interview started off, one of the first things that they came out and talked about, just to keep it on track, and then I'll address chat in a little bit, but one of the first things they started off talking about was the fact that this game has been in more or less active, or it's been in development, even early stages of development, for 8 years. We've heard time and time again that they are discussing how this game is 25 years in the making. A lot of people try to use that as a point of criticism to say, Bethesda, blah, blah, blah. We all know that's stupidity. And anybody with common sense understands that it's not actually been 25 years that they've been developing this game. It's just been an idea, something they've wanted to create for those 25 years. So they did say that after it's been about 8 years, they went to Robert Altman, who has since passed away. But they went to Robert Altman, they said they wanted to make this space game. Todd pitched the idea to him, and they were hesitant at first. They were saying, well, everybody loves Elder Scrolls. As a CEO who's responsible for the profit of this company, they were concerned. And ultimately, Todd pitched what we've heard before, it's now or never to make this space game. And they went for it. They took the bet, they went for it, and now we're getting Starfield 8 years in development. And ultimately, even for Elder Scrolls fans, many of you who've been watching this channel know that Elder Scrolls it's my bread and butter. I love this game to bits. And I love that franchise to bits. And so, ultimately, even though it's been a very long time since we've gotten Skyrim, since 2011, we are getting a very impressive game coming forward. So if you're a fan of Elder Scrolls, you're going to have all the benefits of the new technology. You're going to have the learnings. Whatever Bethesda learns from working with the Creation Engine 2, the refinements they can make from it, the takeaways that they get from the likes of Starfield, they can all implement into into the Elder Scrolls 6. And that's a great thing because, of course, Bethesda is one of the companies, I will say, just from hearing them speak, they do take a lot of community feedback into account. It's part of the reason why they're not going with the voice protagonist. It's part of the reason why they're returning to the RPG mechanics that we want to see. There's a lot of benefits that come from this long wait that's coming for the Elder Scrolls 6. So that was really where the chat started. Or that's where the stream started. Half of that, exactly. And King makes a very great point. King makes an incredibly great point that half of that time was spent, or a large, I don't know if it was exactly half. King, I'm going to take your word on that one. But a lot of that time was spent where Bethesda was just working on the Creation Engine 2, and they did say it took longer than anticipated. It sucks that we won't get footage from Gamescom. It does. They showed off they showed off about an hour at Gamescom of behind closed doors footage of the opening of the game. Now, for many of us, that's not the worst thing in the world because there's some spoilers in there. Now, they did focus a lot on just chopping it up to keep it as fresh as possible when people play the games themselves, and they really did give a bite size just to give an idea of how the game feels. A lot of the previews are coming out of it incredibly positive. I talked about one of those in my last video that you can check out after the stream, of course. I heard with my own ears someone who'd been playing said that the combat was fun. Yeah, listen, a lot of folks are saying that the combat is fun. People who were at Gamescom said that the combat is fun. Please, just out of respect for the developers, I know I can't take account for everybody, but please, just listen. Don't be a dick. Don't try to put spoilers. We're not talking about anything that's come out of the leaks in this stream. Please keep it out of the chat. Just don't be a dick. That's all I can say. So sad when you did not get to say hi _fan. I'm assuming that's a fan of me. But I'm happy you will get to experience it with... Yeah, I'm excited that I get to experience it with all of you guys as well. So when I stream the game, the interesting thing, I will be streaming Starfield with my first impressions. Of course, I know a lot of folks are going to want to... a lot of folks are going to want to play the game themselves and not going to want to be spoiled. So I'll be streaming it day one, and people are going to be thinking, I can't, I can't listen. So, completely understandable. King Fanman, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. You're doing amazing work. Thank you. I really appreciate it. You as well. I know that you have a lot going on, taking care of your mom and doing everything else. So please keep it up. I'm rooting for you. We're in this together. Both King and I didn't get those access. So please do keep it up. Stay strong. And thank you again for being this. You've been around since the beginning, and I cannot express my gratitude enough. 7 days now. I can't wait. There you go. Thanks for clearing up the NDA stuff. I'm excited. Everybody's excited. Everybody is excited, but we have to be respectful of the NDAs. Jimmy's Drumming Corner, welcome. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, and welcome. I'm here, but driving. Welcome, Chris, as well. Spieler going offline. Caesarius, welcome. Best friends forever. Welcome to the stream. Looked like the guy lived in the hood. I'm not sure what that was about. I bet some crazy... We're going to talk about modding. As for the folks who leaked information about Starfield, not only... I think their Xbox profile got banned, like their Xbox account got banned entirely, the footage was pulled, their access to Starfield was revoked, but Bethesda's taking it seriously. Because it's just... You're ruining it. Like, these developers have worked 8 years on this game, and somebody's putting stuff out when they sign when they signed an agreement that they wouldn't do it. Interesting thing about the GTA 6 guy was that wasn't the first time he's broken onto stages to talk about GTA 6, apparently. So, there you go. But, listen, what I will say is that Jeff Keighley handled it incredibly well. I have a lot of respect because he should not have to deal with that at all. All right, a couple more chats, then we're going to get back to some of the Gamescom stuff. I do want to stay on track with that. So, no hype like Bethesda release hype. Indeed. The only thing I will say comparable is, of course, games like Rockstar. I think Rockstar achieved similar levels of excitement and anticipation for those games. And not to the same extent. I won't say to the same extent, but From Software games, specifically Dark Souls or something like Elden Ring, I think are there, but I would even argue it's not to the same level of Starfield. Of course, I'm biased. So any FromSoft fans, I'm a FromSoft fan. Don't be offended. Don't be offended. I love games. I love video games is what it comes down to. This is a new interview from today. Absolutely. It's a new interview from today. So let's continue getting into some more about the interview. Something that came up frequently. Pete Hines did do a Q&A with Bethesda community, or the Bethesda community team members in Germany, Deutschland. So something that came up frequently during the interview was this idea that you can get completely lost in the game. Now this is not something new that came exclusively today. This is something we've heard in the past time and time again. But there was the repetitious nature of Pete Hines explaining how you get distracted from doing one thing to the other. There's also the idea of the word rabbit hole came up a lot during the Q&A that Pete Hines did today. It was used very frequently. So you'll be doing a task, whether it's exploration, it might be side quests, it might be faction quest lines, outpost building, crafting even came up at one point where you could get down the rabbit hole of crafting, as Pete Hines said, because apparently there's a lot there. We don't know the extent of the crafting system, if it's bigger or smaller or about the same as what we got in Fallout, because Fallout did a very good job with it, but of course, always room for growth, right? So at multiple points during the interview, Pete Hines did bring up stories and anecdotes about how he's getting completely lost, and it just goes to show exactly how expansive the amount of content in this world is, right? That the amount of things that you can do. And again, we've heard in the past how there's multiple different games within this one game. So whether you choose to do the faction stuff, the main quest, the outpost building, if you choose to do just the crafting, you know, just exploring space, sticking mostly to planets. Because one interesting tidbit that came from this interview, I'm sure I'll bring it up a little bit later again, was the fact that in Starfield, if you're around the cities or the settlements, Pete Hines did explicitly say something that was interesting in that they were getting lost on Mars, that they were spending tons and tons of times in and around Mars, which of course we know that there's the mining outpost there. One of the cities, Sidonia, is there, but there's enough, it sounded to me like there's enough within Sidonia and outside of Sidonia just on Mars that you can get doing 5-10 hours of content right there. And of course that's going to apply to New Atlantis, that's going to apply to Neon, I'm absolutely sure of it, that's going to apply to a couple of the main questline planets that you visit that are just more fleshed out. Getting lost, Brian says, is at least, welcome Brian, getting lost is at least half the fun in an open world game. Absolutely is. Absolutely is. So they did mention, yeah, they mentioned how you'll be playing, and Todd mentioned this as well. He had a little snippet, I think it was with IGN, this little snippet outside the Bethesda booth where they talked about how you'll sit down, you'll go, all right, I'm going to play, just do this one thing for 30 minutes, and then 5 hours later, you're still playing the game. And that's awesome. I love that. That for me has been always games like Civilization. If anybody plays Civilization, Civ 6, you just sit down, you go, all right, I'm just going to do a little bit, and then it's 2 in the morning, and you go, God damn it. Fine. Fine. We'll pick it up tomorrow. We'll pick it up in the morning. And then you just finish it off there. All right. Let's see what we got going on. Welcome, everybody. I do want to say there's a lot of people that are here viewing. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. I know we're all excited about Starfield. We're going through the Pete Hines interview that came out today. And the Starfield direct footage in the background is because I thought it would be more entertaining than just watching Pete Hines. Not that we don't like looking at Pete Hines. I love looking at Pete Hines talk, but thought it'd be a little bit more interesting. I do see a question about DLSS. I want to get through a little bit more of the interview first, and then I'll get back to chat and your questions about DLSS. Yes, to continue on, even with playtesting the game, Pete Hines explains that 80 hours in, one thing that he mentioned was... Where was I going with that? One thing that he mentioned was he had 2 playtesters. This was from an interview yesterday. But there were 2 playtesters that were going through the game, or people at Xbox or Bethesda that were going through the game, and they had each been playing for about 40 to 60 hours, Pete Hines had said, and yet they had they had not touched the same things whatsoever. They had gone on completely different paths, and that is one of the staples of Bethesda games, where you can truly just open up, and I used a clip of this in one of my recent videos of Oblivion, where you get past the tutorial dungeon in Oblivion, and then you're out in the open world. And the game quite literally says, there's the quest marker, you can go here to continue this, or just explore. And the world is open to you, and it's daunting, it's intimidating, but it's one of the best parts about Bethesda games. That's why we love Bethesda games, because you do have that freedom to just go out and carve your own adventure, in this case, throughout the settled systems. So, absolutely the same thing happened here with these 2 playtesters. Pete Hines, during the interview, mentions how he's 80 hours in, and he did not touch the main quest line. Didn't touch it within 80 hours. And this gets more interesting, because additionally, he explains that the game doesn't, and I want to know what you guys think about this. He mentions that the game does not, quote, the game doesn't get going until you complete the main story. And yet Pete Hines is 80 hours in. It took him another 50 hours of the main story. He later said that he went into the main story. Once again, the theme of getting distracted and getting lost. He mentions how he just got locked into the main story of Starfield. 50 hours, that doesn't mean the main quest line takes 50 hours. That's just the numbers that he's throwing out there, right? I'm not saying on the stream that main story is 50 hours. But he got lost in the main quest for 50 hours, and then he said, even with, at that point, you're at 100, 110, 120, 130, 130 hours of content, and the game is just getting started. Because he did the 80 hours of side stuff, then he did 50 hours of the main quest line, but still, the game just gets going after the main quest. So I want to know what you guys honestly think about that. Be sure to tell me what you, because I'm lost. I don't know if it's something with New Game Plus that they were referring to, which we are going to talk about that. But let me know your thoughts. I do want to address DLSS because I see a couple people talking out about it in chat. The thing about DLSS is that previously it was offered, I believe that a modder made it work for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now, this same person was giving an early access code to play Starfield, and people are saying, oh, well, it's because he's going to get DLSS to work. Allegedly, he charged for this mod, and then every single time there was an update, the mod broke, and then you would have to pay again to get the updated version of the mod to make DLSS work. Who do we have? Shadow Rodney, excuse me, Shadow Rodney. Welcome to the crew. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here, dude. We got to keep in the nature. Should I just call all of you dudes? DeMarco dude. I just go with dude all the time. Sure, why not? Thank you, everybody, for being here during the stream. Yeah, so apparently there's a lot of caveats with that DLSS mod. Do keep in mind, that's what I've been hearing. Although apparently it's also not that difficult if you know what you're doing. I couldn't do it if there was a gun pointed in my head. But apparently it's not too difficult for those who have the know-how to mod it into the game. But do be aware of that caveat for DLSS and Starfield, because of course AMD has the partnership where it's going to be, what is it, FX2 or something along those lines. So there you go. All right. Pete was dropping a deuce while playing. Joey Caglitz, welcome to the stream. Joey, Pete was dropping lots of deuces during this interview. Eli, hope I'm not late. So excited. T-minus 8 days for you and me both. We're all looking forward to it. Cannot wait. Although I haven't pre-ordered the game. I always say don't pre-order. It would be hypocritical if I did. I usually wait till about 2 or 3 days beforehand before I pick it up. I did like what he said about the Vanguard quest. Yes, I do have notes about the Vanguard quest, King Fan Man. What's up, Marie? Thank you so much for stopping by. It's great to see you again. It's been a while since you've been able to join the stream, so I'm happy that you've been able to join. And Sips of Tea, you're in every single one. So thank you again for being here. See, I remember. That's the one thing. You guys join DeMarco Dude community. I remember you guys. It takes me a while, and there's a lot more folks, so it takes me a little bit longer, but I do remember. I pre-ordered all versions of the game. Well, they're going to be very happy with you, Joe. They're going to be very happy with you. Comes out 6 p.m. my time on the 31st. Super excited. That's awesome. It's 8 p.m. for Eastern Standard Time where I am. Ghost 38, welcome. I don't know if I said hi to you. There's going to be New Game Plus. Interesting. Yes, we're going to talk about New Game Plus. I apologize if I'm talking pretty fast. It's just my habit. So, all right. Anyway, as far as the game just getting started, just to bring it back to that and close out that conversation, it's very cryptic to me. I do wonder, personally, if he was referring to the New Game Plus that is in Starfield. And not only is New Game Plus in Starfield, it was also mentioned that they're doing kind of a new take on it, something different for Starfield as opposed to other New Game Pluses. And that makes sense, certainly, for an RPG, because I don't think, to my understanding, a game like, well, the problem is there's not a lot of games similar to Bethesda RPGs, really, are there? So there is a New Game Plus, absolutely. Welcome, Mr. Sogies. If you like slow talking, yeah, if you like slow, be sure to check out King Fan Man. He's one of the nicest content creators on the platform. He's actually the first person that I ever did a collaboration with. I reached out to the Blue when I was but a young DeMarco lad. I was a DeMarco boy, and I reached out and said, hey, can I join the King's Cast, the stream that he does? And he said, yep, no problem, without even asking questions. What WTF is New Game Plus? Alright, so I see a lot of people ask about New Game Plus. Let's just get into New Game Plus, right? I want to do what you guys think is the most interesting. Let's talk about New Game Plus. We don't know, first and foremost, we don't know the specifics of it. That's something that's important to know. We do not know how it works. The only thing that we've been said, let me pull up the exact quote for you guys here. Starfield New Game Plus. I need to do a search. Let's pull up. This is coming from IGN. Quote, Starfield delivers Bethesda Game Studios' most immersive role-playing since 2006's Oblivion, Howard told Gentleman. Oh, this is from Gentleman's Quarterly. That's where Todd Howard did an interview with Gentleman Quarterly, and that's where this came out. Hello, Marie, thank you. Here for all the streams I'm at. Thank you. Pay with your blood. Pay with your blood. Yes. Thank you, Marie. I always appreciate it so very much. Thank you. And I appreciate you being here. I'm just happy that you are here. I'm happy that all you guys and girls are here joining this stream. It really does mean a lot to me. As a small channel, 4,000 is not big. It means a lot when I see this many people that are here, that are interesting, that are engaged. Please be sure, not just a Starfield channel, so if I do other stuff, I want to see you there as well. I'm just saying. To me, as I've said before, it's always about the community. Not going to go on too long about this, but it's always about getting to meet and interact with you guys. And I'll spend hours responding to comments because it means a lot to me. So I want to get to know you. I want to get to hang out. The goal is to break down the barrier between the screen and myself as much as possible, that you guys feel like you could be hanging out right here. We'll play a game together. You know, that sort of thing. So anyway, Dr. Rooney, thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. Yeah, so the quote. Starfield delivers Bethesda Game Studios' most immersive role-playing since 2006's Oblivion. It gives you the flexibility and options to carve out a unique identity, and even adds a unique and exciting twist on New Game Plus to incentivize continued and repeat play. So, just to repeat, It even adds a unique and exciting twist on New Game Plus to incentivize continued and repeat play. What is going on? Welcome SR Customs, thank you for being here, and welcome Dr. Rooney, thank you for being here. You're my star, Azura star. Welcome Verdant Babel, appreciate you being here as well. I'm having a lot of fun. Not gonna lie, I'm here for Bethesda. Don't worry, the channel at the core, if you're just here for BGS, perfectly fine. If you're just here for Starfield, we'll still be covering Starfield, but of course that's not an everlasting thing, right? So you have to, if you're just here for Starfield, I appreciate the time that you're spending here, but we're not a forever Starfield channel. And there's plenty of other, check out Starfield Signal. It's literally in his name. He might be the person that you're looking for in that case, if you're only here for Starfield. But Bethesda Game Studios, Elder Scrolls 6, Elder Scrolls, my bread and butter. Of course, other Bethesda Softworks titles, Prey, Deathloop, I really enjoyed. You know, other Arcane titles that are being worked on, hopefully Prey 2. Hello, James, and welcome. So there you go. New Game Plus, like in The Witcher 3. I think they're going to try to do something different than New Game Plus in The Witcher 3. If they're trying to promote this new, unique take, I want to say that somehow what I think would be a unique twist would be if they can somehow be reflective. Hello, Ninja, and welcome, dude, to the community. Welcome, Miss Amber Cullen. Thank you for stopping by. I'm not going, you guys are going to keep doing this. I'm not going to be able to talk about the game. To me, what I would like to see is if somehow New Game Plus reacts to your choices that you've made, specifically with the end of the game, but I don't know how that would work out if you want to go back and play through the main story again. I don't know. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. It's just something that we absolutely will have to wait and see before we truly get a good idea. Welcome, Jamie Williams, to the crew. Thank you so much for stopping by. Well, I can't say crew. That's Starfield Signal. He says welcome to the crew. Thank you, dude. Can I link this interview in chat? Unfortunately, I don't know where it's published, so no. What I can say, I don't know where it's published. What I can say is if you want to check out, I should have put in the description maybe, but if you want to check out, the way you can probably find it is go to Bethesda Germany's Twitch channel, and it should be one of their recent streams that they put on, and you could probably check it out there. Yes, yes, thank you, Jonas. If you want Starfield content and you're into Starfield lore, there's a channel that I do a podcast with now, time and time again, Lorefield. Search up Lorefield, you can find them that way. I do a podcast with them, but they're going to be really going into depth with just the Starfield lore. It's in their name, so definitely check that out as well. What do we have going on? Let me take a couple steps back for chat. Repo Man, good day. Legend, what's new? You're the legend. I'm just a person putting on a camera, hanging out with you guys. New Game Plus is usually being able to, the doctor's office says, keep all of your weapons, etc. after the first completion. It is. So that makes me wonder exactly what this new mode might mean. Let's see. New Game Plus sounds interesting, especially when you... Welcome, MBP 590. How's it going, dude? Happy to have you here. Also, I use dude just gender agnostic, so do with that what you will. Was I a fan? Spieler asked, was I a fan of Cyberpunk 2077? I liked it. I was into it. I never beat Cyberpunk. I was into it. Also, I just want to... Hold on. I want to just go back a little bit, because this is something I always thought in the Direct was not talked about enough. The House Varun has these robots that we've never seen anywhere else. I don't know. Are they modified Vasco? There has to be something different, right? Because it's just Varun Robot Model A. I don't know. I always thought that was interesting. Anyway. Kindred Spirits, Anima. Sure. Get ready for a 4-hour stream. If you guys keep chatting and hanging out, I get carried away. That's the thing is because I like hanging out with all of you and I like chatting. So the more you chat, the more I go on and on and on. And I have trouble with goodbyes. Grayson, LOL, sorry buddy, not sure. Oh, maybe about clicking the launch. Anyone else clicking the launch button for Starfield Daily in case they mess up and allow earlier access. Unfortunately, I'm too busy making content to be doing that all the time. Hello, James, if I didn't as well.
Best friends forever.
It would be cool since you had to select a background. Welcome, Gander Lad. How are you? Best friends forever. We'll see. Maybe. There you are. Dude works. There you go. Anyone think Starfield will be anyone thinks Starfield will one day be online like Fallout 76? I think there's a possibility that ZeniMax Online is working on a Starfield MMO, if that counts. That would be the most likely thing, in my opinion, to come out from ZeniMax Online. All right, I do want to get back to the interview for just a little bit. Hello, Maro. Welcome. I do want to get back to the interview for a bit. Let me play this again and pull up my notes here. I seem to have lost my notes. Let me pull them. There we are. So, yes, on the main story of Starfield. Pete Hines mentioned that there were a couple interesting things that he mentioned in reference to the main story. First and foremost was that he said it was his favorite BGS story and his favorite ending. Singular. We'll talk about that. His favorite ending to a Bethesda Game Studios story. Now we'll go back into the New Game Plus in a little bit as well, just to kind of offer a theory here. Now, it's not the first time. What I thought was interesting about this wasn't so much that he said is his favorite Bethesda Game Studios story, but it was the fact that he referred to ending as singular. And it's not the first time that we've heard Bethesda staff refer to the ending of Starfield as singular, not plural, multiple endings. And we haven't heard Bethesda ever talk about multiple endings to the game. Now, of course, people will be quick to bring up in the past, I think it was with Fallout 3, with over 200 endings or something along those lines. People will meme Bethesda. Maybe they're trying to avoid that type of controversy where they say, yeah, there's 100 endings in Starfield, even though you have to really kind of nitpick to find that answer. There's slight variations that lead to that 100. Maybe they're trying to stay away from that language. Absolutely possible, but they've not acknowledged multiple endings. They've always referred to the ending as a singular thing. My suspicion, and it ties back to what Pete said, where the game doesn't truly begin until you finish the main quest, is that it's less about the actual story ending of Starfield. Everybody might have the exact same ending to the main quest line, but it's really what happens after that, right? It's how the world might change as a result of you making the decisions you did during the main story. So the actual... Does that make sense to folks who are listening? The actual main story you complete, the last quest is named, let's just say, Into the Starfield. You get it into quest complete, Into the Starfield. That's it for the main story. But now the world itself and what you explore and what you can do and some of the quests that emerge as a result of the choices you make are now different, even though it's not inherently tied to the main quest line. That's pure speculation. I don't know anything. I'm guessing. I'm pulling stuff out my butt. But it's just food for thought. Let's go back to the beginning here. That's just food for thought for some of you to consider. And I wonder if any of you have any thoughts about that yourself. Let's get back into some of the chats while you guys ponder that over. Love your energy, brother. Love that you're here, Repo Man. Has the gameplay from Gamescom Theater leaked yet? If it has, I don't know. If it has, I genuinely have no idea. And I'm not looking for it. So there you go. Probably not. I don't think anyone is truly getting away because the footage was 1 hour. They showed 1 hour of the game. I don't think anyone's getting away with doing this for 1 hour long during the conference. And it's good that they're not. So there you go. I downloaded Dawn of War 1, but I don't know how it will work on Windows 10. Dawn of War. Good luck. I don't know what Dawn of War is, unfortunately, unless it's a Skyrim mod? You're talking about the Skyrim mod? Perhaps? I heard that vehicles would go too fast. That's possible. That's possible, Jeff. What I will say is, I think Bethesda just... My personal theory about the lack of ground vehicles as it pertains to Starfield is that gravity plays an important role. So, unlike if you play, for example, Mass Effect 1 and you have the exploration in the Mako, or even Mass Effect Andromeda, gravity is always the same no matter what planet you go to. And the terrain is always almost identical, even though it has a different color. So, therefore, you can have a vehicle like the Mako and you can have it work really well. You can have it work really well because they only have to plan around the mechanics of that one system. Versus Starfield, where gravity plays a really big role, now they have to think, okay, how are we going to get vehicles to work in this gravity, in this gravity, in this gravity, if it's this much, right? And I'm not saying it's lazy development. It's not. But it just makes a little bit more sense for Bethesda to spend the time where it actually matters. And especially because Todd Howard came out and said bluntly, the world is meant to be explored on foot. There's no real reason to put vehicles. So I much rather Bethesda put the time and the energy towards making sure that all of these other systems work. Making sure, because now you have to develop both the space combat systems as well as the ground vehicle. I'd rather that time be spent making the ground vehicles, the space combat and the space mechanics be absolutely as amazing as possible. It also means you have to design enemy AI for the land vehicles. It means you have to design encounters that pertain to the land vehicles. It means you have to design the map with the land vehicles. So you have to completely change the overall structure of the game because you want to introduce land vehicles. Ultimately, I think they made the right call. Mechs. Yes, the thing is about mechs, that's an alternative, and it's one that struck me as odd because effectively the Fallout 4 power armor worked as mechs. That one is... I want to cross my fingers that it was for... Specifically, it was for... Thank you, Professor Diehard. Thank you, Professor Diehard, for the super chat. The only thing I'm worried about is companion combat.
I can't believe it's you.
Apparently the AI, that what we've heard, and this was from somebody who did a report that works at a news outlet that saw the 1-hour gameplay demo. Apparently they said the AI makes good use of cover, it navigates around well. We've seen Bethesda AI in the past. Let's be honest. Bethesda AI for the enemies is never this grandiose, world-bending, or game-shattering thing. I'm just being honest. It's serviceable. It does what it needs to. If they've improved the AI, which they said they had, if you remember, the early conversations about the Creation Engine 2 was about how they've improved AI systems. That's one of the things that's always stuck out in my head because I've wondered how. How did they improve AI? So if this person, and it's not just one individual who came out of the 60-minute demo and said the combat really impressed them. There were multiple folks who came out of that demo and said the combat looked good and that combat was above what they're anticipating. Because I think a lot of folks are anticipating Fallout in space and it's going to behave and play and respond the exact way that Fallout did. I don't think that's the case. Welcome, just a couple people. Eric Holmberg, I didn't acknowledge you, dude. Welcome, my dude. I'm happy that you're here. Welcome, JG, and welcome, Alessia. That's not by any chance, Saint Alessia, is it? Anyway. Welcome. I want to make sure that I acknowledge. If you did subscribe to the channel and you didn't get any kind of a notification, just as an FYI, YouTube versus, for example, Twitch, if you don't have it set for public subscriptions, you won't pop up. So I apologize if you did subscribe and I'm not acknowledging it. But anyway, I talked about land vehicles. The AI, yes. So if the AI for companions works the same as it does for the enemies, and they're saying the enemies are good, then I'd be a little bit less worried. Of course, I'm sure, I have no doubt in my mind, you're still going to get those stupid moments where the AI for your companions or the enemies runs out into the open and they're like, hey, and they're shooting just completely wide out in the open, and it doesn't make any sense. So there you go. But listen, that's on to me, and call me a Bethesda fanboy, but to me, there's part of the charm that comes with that. And at the end of the day, I'm playing a game. Don't play with guns unless it's in a game, or unless you know what you're doing. But what is it? If you are playing a game and the combat feels good and you're having fun, that's what's most important to me. Sure, if an AI acts stupid every once in a while. Okay. Address a couple. Forever Skies, it's kind of cool. What are the other two main factions called again? So some of the main factions, you have Constellation, which is the one that you're kind of forced into. You have to join. Don't know what you can do with them, of course. Maybe you could betray them and do your own thing. Crimson Fleet, House Faroon. This is going to be a test. You have the UC Vanguard that I think you can join, which is part of the United Colonies. There's the Freestar Collective. There's another faction called the Red Mile that we really don't know much about it. Welcome, dude. Ace GP Ace. How are you? Curious what the Ace GP and Y2 Ace is, if you want to let me know what that's all about. Also, feel free to ask questions again. If I don't respond to your chat, please feel free to ask it again. But when there's this many people, I'm sorry. I've never had this many people in a stream before. So welcome, everybody. I'm glad that you're here. When will the earliest live stream be? I hear that it could be the 31st at night. For people who have early access, I think they're allowed to start streaming as soon as the embargo lifts, I want to say. Which, for me, is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I think anyone who has a code with the game is allowed to stream it then, which will not be myself. So you could check out a content creator like Light, Starfield Signal, or just the myriad of others. I want to say Chad of Fallout 76 podcast, Ken from Chad of 76 podcast. He's great, and he does a lot of writing too. So I'm going to be very interested to hear his thoughts and review. If you want kind of that writer's perspective on the game. You could definitely check him out. But of course, all of us, I think, if you're looking at a Bethesda-focused creator, we all have our bias. So you have to pick and choose the one that you know is going to call them out when something goes wrong. That's going to say, hey, I loved all these things. Here's something I didn't like. So just be sure. Gonna need a space whip. I hope you get a space whip. If you're talking about like a Starfield, the Star Wars whip lightsabers. Welcome, Jordy Hardy 95. Thank you for being here. Todd in his interview said with his mouth that they could add planets. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing about mechs. I'm very curious if they're going to try to do something with them in a DLC. That would be my guess. Because it's very interesting that they're there. You could explore the ruined battlefield, but suddenly every single faction in the game is respecting the fact that we can't build or use mechs anymore. That came off as really strange to me. That's not, you have this very realistic world. You know, it's you know, not to use a example that might make some people uncomfortable in a way, but technically nuclear weapons banned, but nations have them. We have them in the United States, right? So we shouldn't, but we do. So I find it hard to believe that with something like a mech, every single faction and independent system in the game said, okay, we're giving them all up. So there you go. I want to say I hope it comes in a DLC. Sips of Tea, you're doing great. Appreciate the encouragement. Ace, I see a chat from you. Google, that's why. Gotcha. Good reason. Google, our Lord and Overlord. Dimitri, how many people can group together? I don't know what you mean by that. How many companions can you take out? Jonas, thank you. Happy to have you here, and thank you for being the best and the only mod that I have on the channel. I do need a mod in North America, so if you hang out here, if I start to get to know you, I trust you, I do need a moderator in North America, because Jonas is faraway lands, the faraway lands, and he can't always be here because it's past midnight for him. Marie, I've seen so many people here. OMG, gotta go, DeMarco, looking good with those glasses. Thank you, I just got them today. I have astigmatism, so that's fun. But looking at this, I could read the chat a lot clearer, because, you know, I'm not old, but this is starting to get blurry. So there you go.
Pay the court a fine or serve your
31st at 8 p.m. I'm gonna guess you're on the East Coast too, RC Wreckers. Chris Harris, congrats on the live stream, bud. Thank you, Chris. Chris, you are a champion, and I know that you know that, and I know that I say thank you to you all the time. Also, Chris, enjoy that Starfield controller that I know that you have. So there you go. No, you deserve that more than anybody. Thank you again for the support. I really appreciate it. Starfield in 1 week. Let's go. Yes, let's go. Let's get that excitement. I really changed my mind. It was only some ideas for Jason when I watch games on YouTube. Sorry, I'm not catching up with what I know. Jason, you've had a couple chats. I'm sorry, I'm not catching up. New Game Plus, maybe alternative universe or time travel. I think that's a bit of it. Maybe that's how they link it. Maybe that that's how they include kind of a lore-friendly way for you to go. Was there more on this interview? Yes. All right, yes. One more chat, and then we'll get into some more on the interview. Thank you, Rihanna. One of those is probably right. There you go. One more chat, and then we'll get back. Thanks for keeping me on track. It's a Bethesda game. There's I like the energy. Thank you. I also have astigmatism. It sucks, Evan, but it is what it is. 2 companions. I hope that you can have... One of the developers in the Q&A said the mechs are all scrap and we can't pilot them. No, we cannot. Here's a good one before we get back into the Q&A. You think New Game Plus affects how POIs are placed into planets because they said different playthroughs, different spawns. Welcome, Jetrico. I don't think I said hi to you. Reyna. There you go. Reyna Stormcall. Oh, Reyna Stormcall. That's from something. That's from something, right? Reyna Stormcall. It sounds familiar. Anyway, yeah, so I do think that the spawns will change when you do a New Game Plus, because that's just how the game process. The way that the spawns, just to be clear, I haven't played the game, this is my best assumption, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. When you go into a system, the game will pull in locations based, the planets are always stagnant, so you're always going to have, here's desert planet, here's Arctic planet, here's whatever planet, right? Because they base that stuff around realistic perspectives. It's this close to the sun, it has this type of atmosphere, whatever the case might be. So in the same systems, you're going to get the same planets with probably the same names and the same atmospheres. The game says, okay, here's the planet that we have. Bayazura, he was just on stream. You're going to get a certain location that's compatible with that environment, with that biome, and it says, boom, pull this into the game. And that's how it, so if you do New Game Plus, it's gonna give you a new one. All right. Back to some of the notes that I have on the Q&A. Also, if you have a question and I don't answer, feel free to chat it again. Just do not spam it, please. Yes, we last ended off with the Q&A talking about the story for Starfield. Pete Hines said it's his favorite in any Bethesda game. We also were talking about how he said ending singular, so we went over that. Bethesda frequently gets knocked around for their writing on main quests. I've never thought that their writing was terrible. I personally always preferred the faction quest lines. I just thought they were stronger. But I've never been one of those folks that plays Skyrim and says, "Yeah, this is insulting to gamers that they make this type of a story." I've always thought they were good. I've always thought they serviced the theme of the game. I've always thought they were appropriate. I'm not going to turn around and say that they were that they're on the level of Arkham City in terms of writing, or that they're on the level of The Witcher 3 as far as writing goes. But I've always thought they were good. So it's nice to hear that they're really behind on the story. And one thing that was interesting before I move on from the main story, at least the writing of it, who do we have here? Welcome, Lena Coleman. Thank you, dude, so much for joining. I appreciate you being here. So the last thing I want to bring up is King Fanman. Yes, go check out King Fanman's content. He's a great content creator and one of the longest other content creator friends. One of the first content creator friends that I made on this channel. Really great person. So, the writing, yes. Where was I going with that? Yeah, damn it, you distracted me. All right. Well, we'll hope that thought comes back. Single ending. I've always very sorry, no worries, King. I've always thought that the writing wasn't that bad. It was that's what I was saying. It's good for the story, not an Arkham City type thing or Witcher 3. But it's not... Oh, this was it. So they've said, Pete Hines did call out during this interview that they constantly have different writers coming in, and they never have exactly the same writer that's doing the main quest line to get some new, hey, he has similar glasses to me, to get some new kind of thoughts and new ideas that generate for the storylines that they do, at least for the main story. I thought that was interesting. And I thought that was a good thing too, that they're constantly saying, hey, you probably moving people around internally, you come on up, get up. You're going to be the lead writer for the story. And we've seen how well that can go. For example, when Will Shen, we all give Will Shen the spotlight for Far Harbor DLC. He did a very good job with it. It's the best DLC that came out for Fallout 4. It was just a really good thing and a really good story in general. And that was largely because they are bringing people up to try out bigger roles, bigger roles within the company, in this case, lead writing. So there you go. I'm happy that they keep bringing in new talent is what I'm trying to get out. Long story long. You'll hear me say that a lot. Long story long. I ramble. Sorry. But you guys are still here watching, so I'm doing something right. I want to do a little bit more of the actual Q&A, and then I'll get back to chat. So I apologize for the things that I'm missing, but please do feel free to keep asking your questions. Yes, so... yeah, I already talked about how the New Game Plus, is it shaped by what you do during the main... So, yeah, he said the game doesn't begin until after the main quest. Does a settled system shape around after based on what you do in the game once you complete the main story? And that's why it doesn't begin. What we do know... we talked about... Okay, so this is my notes about New Game Plus. We kind of cut ahead a little bit. There were two questions during this Q&A. That Pete Hines said, I don't know to, which I thought was very interesting. Pete Hines said, I don't know to whether or not you can travel between two planets in the same system without needing to fast travel. So whether or not you can just fly in a straight line and eventually you would get there to the other planet. He said, I don't know. My guess is one of two things. My guess is either yes, you can, but it's going to take you a buttload of time in order to do it. And I am talking hours and hours and hours, like 5 hours in real time to get to that planet, however far away it might be, if you want to do it in real time. My other guess, and what I think is actually the case, and this is pure speculation, is you need to fast travel. So Pete Hines did say that at any point you can get up from the chair, your pilot seat, walk around your ship, which is nice to have confirmation, even though we kind of already knew that, but he said it outright today. You can do that, you can walk around, and then you go to the map table, you plot your course for the planet, and then you fast travel there. There's a couple reasons why I think that's the case. I can get into them if I see a bunch of people saying, hey, explain why. Hello, Professor Diehard. Well, I said hello to you. DLC hypothesis equals mech/vehicles, capital ships, some DLC regarding base building, like Fallout 4, New Game Plus, maybe create new faction, maybe. Oh my god, I just moved a thing. Welcome, Michael Shabowski. That makes me think of Shaboopy from Family Guy. Shaboopy, Shaboopy, Shaboopy. Yeah, Professor Diehard, I'll go into your super chat. Thank you, by the way, for it. I really appreciate that so much. I'll get into it in just a little bit, but what were we saying? Yes, my speculation is that you have to fast travel to get between planets in the same system. I know that's going to disappoint a lot of people, but I don't know. It makes sense to me. It kind of gives Bethesda a little bit more control over the game. And the reason why I think you'll have to fast travel between planets, even in the same system, is because Bethesda wants to create these random encounters that you can come across, whether it's a derelict ship. And Pete Hines said during this interview, he said that you can have derelict ships, you could have just random passenger ships, you could have party yachts that are flying around. You could have pirates come and raid you. You can have space stations that you can go aboard. So there's a lot of different things that you can come across while you're traveling through space. And in order to have those encounters, theoretically, Bethesda can just say, okay, there's definitely systems where Bethesda can say, all right, the player's going here. We have to load in a new kind of chunk. It's called cells in Bethesda games. We have to load in, I don't know where my hands are on stream, so they might be off camera, but we have to load in a new cell. So let's just load in this random event. And then you see the random event because it loaded in with the cell, and then you can experience it. The other way that Bethesda, and the way that I think they're doing it, is you fast travel there. So they know the general area you're going to load into. No matter how many times you travel to a planet, you always load into this one space. And then from there, when you're loading into it by grav jumping, when you're loading into it, the game says, okay, let's pull in this stuff while they're loading. We'll pull in these random encounters that the player can come across. Invisible wall, no. I don't think it's going to be an invisible wall. What I suspect it's going to be, even on planets, if you are on planets, what I suspect it's going to be is the game will endlessly load. The game will endlessly load. And I want to get to Professor Diehard because he sent in the super chat, so I want to address this thing. The game will endlessly load, but there's not really going to be anything interesting there. Bethesda has made it clear that you can see the points of interest before you land on a planet, and even from space. You could scan a planet, see the things, here's some interesting stuff you can go and explore, and you choose whether or not you want to do that. I suspect if you try to go beyond the boundaries of the general area, the general point of interest, then what's going to happen is you'll just run into a bunch of nothing. A lot of nothing. And it doesn't block you with an invisible wall. It doesn't block you with an invisible wall, but it also doesn't provide an incentive for you to actually go out and travel. They said, all right, so Professor Diehard, I think maybe not vehicles, but I think mechs can definitively be part of a DLC. Capital ships would be interesting. There is a part in the Starfield Direct somewhere, or it's in the trailer that they played separate from the Direct, where there's a big ship that's firing at the player, and I don't know the exact timestamp, so I can't even really skip around to find it. It's probably in this section somewhere, so it might even come up while we're watching, but there is a big ship that's firing at the player. But whether or not you have to like take that ship down systematically like the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, not quite sure, but I guess it is possible. The other DLC, you mentioned a base building, a DLC for base building, Professor. What I will say is my personal guess is something to do with building your own space station. Like you could with the Vault-Tec DLC in Fallout 4, I think that if they're going to do, which they almost certainly are going to do a settlement or an outpost-based DLC, my guess is that they're going to do something involving space stations. Because what's missing from the big space game that you can't do, build in space. That's my guess. Any news about cybernetics? Is Starfield Cyborg? No. I do have to skip a bunch of chats. Garrett, welcome. How are you? Do you think with all the food they have added, there will be survival mode like Skyrim? Also, do we know how big we can make ships before we have a limit? No, we don't know the exact size that you can make. We don't know the exact size that you can make ships. But, I mean, if you look at the giant mech, the giant Gundam ship that they made before, they get pretty big. So, there you go. PD Boy said you can walk around the whole planet. He said he doesn't know, if I remember correctly. He said he hasn't tried it. And this is going off of memory. I don't have notes on that one. But he said he hasn't tried it. You could try it, though. By all means, you can go off and do it. But not what he said during the interview was that a lot of people were asking, how long does it take to do X? Can you do all these things? And he kind of explained you cannot have, even with Pete confirmed it on Twitter. Ah, interesting. All right, so you guys know stuff that, or have seen things. Was this recently, or did I just miss something? Obviously, I'm human. I'm fallible. I can't get every single detail. What is Starfield? Is this a new game? It's like a movie or something coming out. This was a few, like 1 to 2 days ago. Okay, so I missed Pete Hines saying that on Twitter then. I missed him saying you can walk around the whole planet. I am curious though. So I am curious then if you can go, like, if you start here, if you can actually go around the planet and get back to here. Or if it just kind of gives you the impression that you're going around the whole planet. Someone's going to try it. Who is that? Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. We have Dane Myers. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, I think, but so I've been wrong about a lot when it comes to Starfield. Just being honest with all of you, I've been wrong about a lot. Early on, when we were talking about Starfield in 2019, I was saying Bethesda wouldn't you wouldn't be able to fly your own ship in a Bethesda game. I was one of those people. So let me just put that out there. Take what I'm about to say as you will. But I do want, he says walk on, meaning you can just keep walking. My question is whether or not it keeps loading in tiles to simulate the planet is endless, and it says, okay, the player's getting to the end, load something new. So you're not going to ever hit an invisible wall. You're not going to hit an invisible wall, but it'll just keep spawning tiles endlessly to give you the illusion that you're going around the planet. Meanwhile, you're actually just kind of walking on a flat plane endlessly, if that makes any sense to anybody. Again, I don't know if you can actually go from, you start here, go all the way, and you'll end up back here. If you do it, it would take hours. So there you go. So when he says walk on, he might just mean you don't hit an invisible wall. But again, I've been wrong about things in the past. That's just food for thought. He said he replied with yes to the question if you can walk around, if you can loop around a planet. Okay. The Earth, yeah, checkmate, flat earthers. Welcome, Sonia. I don't think I said hi to you. Kigby, welcome as well. Okay, Scout, hello. All right. If that is the case, Triple Link, I'm taking your word for it. Triple Link is saying that he said, yes, you can loop around a planet. So there you go. I was wrong about that one. Apparently you can. The question is whether or not you actually want to, because probably going to be pretty boring. New Game Plus was confirmed. We did talk about New Game Plus, Morrow. Starfield Cyborg, welcome. Are we able to fly around a planet? Again, if I was wrong about walking around the planet, I might be wrong about being able to fly around a planet. Welcome, Cybernetic. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. Also, for anybody that is subscribing or anybody that is here, just do keep in mind, while I'm incredibly excited for Starfield, I am not just the end-all, be-all Starfield forever channel. All right? I just want you guys to know what you're getting into. I love all of you here. I love hanging out with all you guys. But we are a Bethesda Softworks is always going to be at the core, and I always appreciate having 100 subscribers that are here for, obviously don't look at videos that you don't care about, but I'm 100% for 100 subscribers that are invested in the channel than 1,000 subscribers that will only watch One Piece. So join me for Starfield, join me for the journey, but just know what you're getting into. I like to set expectations. I like to be honest with all of you. The Gremlin guy on Starfield Direct who explained the procedural map and handcrafting, he said that the map will build as the player is approaching a planet, so it should be loaded. Yes, he did. He said, well, that was also in reference to the location spawning on the planet, wasn't it? Where does the New Game Plus? Just to go back, for those of you who are joining for the first time, I apologize for those of you that have heard this, but the New Game Plus was confirmed during a WTFY. Not sure what you're saying that in reference to. But anyway. You can't fly, oh, yes. So it should be, yes, that was in reference, the New Game Plus. Sorry. The New Game Plus was, for those of you who have heard it, again, I apologize for going over it, but during an interview with Gentleman Quarterly, Todd Howard stated, quote, I have the quote here, it gives you the Starfield's choice system gives you the flexibility and options to carve out a unique identity, and even adds a unique and exciting twist on New Game Plus to incentivize continued and repeat play. So do with that what you will. Nick Does Life, welcome. Thank you for joining. Who's my star? Who's my Azura star? Crashes, you're my star. My Azura star. And, yes, best friends forever with Nick Does Life. All right, let's continue on with a little bit more of the Starfield Pete Hines interview, shall we? So there were two things he said he doesn't know. We talked about one, which is whether or not you could travel between planets. He also said he doesn't know if there's a level cap in Starfield. He does not know. And that's interesting because for someone who has 130 hours in it, we know he's played 130 hours. He said he did 80 hours for side stuff. Then he went off to do the main quest for about another 50 hours or so. So 130-ish hours, and he hasn't hit the level cap. So you're going to be leveling up for a while. He doesn't know if there is one. Nobody said it yet. So there you go. Possibly no level cap in Starfield, so just keep on leveling up as much as your heart desires, which does make some semblance of sense considering we know that the level up system is a combination of Oblivions as well as Skyrim's, where you get points or you unlock skills by using them, the ability to unlock them, and then you level them up by using them. So it kind of has this hybrid system that's going on that I'm really looking forward to trying. He also mentions that, just one more thing, these are some elements that we have heard before about Starfield. Pete Hines does say that ships can randomly land. Now, you don't know if they're going to be friendly or not. There is a bounty system in the game. Pete Hines explicitly started talking about how he was role-playing as this wanted character. He betrayed an order he had a mission to do, he didn't listen to orders, and now he's wanted, and he was role-playing this type of character called the Colonel, and so he got involved with the bounty system in the game, and ships can dynamically, while you're exploring a planet, ships can dynamically land on the planet. It's very similar to, arguably, dragons, or some of the vertibirds in Fallout 4, where they just kind of procedurally come into the equation. So ships can land in front of you. It could be something friendly, because he kind of hinted at that. He said it's not always friendly, which is why I got that impression. But he also said it could be somebody coming after the bounty on your head. So they will land. It might be pirates. And he also confirmed something that Todd Howard had said in the past, where you can get on their ship, and that ship can take off with you in it. He actually said he got jettisoned and died. He did die. But he got jettisoned from the ship because he was flying off into space while he was on it, and there was a pilot that was still there in the seat that took off with him in it. So some interesting kind of dynamic gameplay that can take place, which is probably going to be a lot of fun. And I think a lot of folks are going to have some interesting stories to tell about the encounters you get in this scenario. I wonder, because they did say that you as the player can't seamlessly take off to space, so why are you able to, because when Todd Howard had talked about this, he said he ended up in space on the ship. So I do wonder why the enemy AI is able to seemingly go from the ground into space, but the player can't. That's something that always struck me as a bit like, raised a bit of a question mark for me. Crashes, thumbs up. #aim, enjoying the content, mate. Welcome. Thank you. I'm glad that you're enjoying. Boxing King Dunce, run Forrest run. Yeah, you're gonna be running for a long time. I think it would be cool to be able to be stranded out in space. Jared, they did confirm that you cannot get stranded. They actually, so this is one of the things I really appreciate and respect about Bethesda games, is that's one of my favorite shots in this. I just want to go back like a second here. This right here. Oop, I love that. I love this one too. I love these shots in the Starfield Direct. They did say that one of the things I appreciate about Bethesda is that they do test the mechanics that we are asking about. So we're sitting here talking about, can we, have a fuel system? And Bethesda actually took the time to say, all right, let's do that. The questions that we're asking, they are asking internally as well. And so they've tested it out. they said it halted the gameplay too much, but they absolutely were encouraging of modders to try to make it a system that worked. So I would be really interested to see that. Cybernetics, I got early access to Starfield. Just a heads up, Cybernetics, if you say anything that you should not be saying that's against NDA, if that is true, I will ban you from the channel immediately. So respect the NDA. If you did, congratulations on getting early access. I'm jealous, but congratulations. And I hope you're enjoying it. A lot of people, Bullet Magnet says, curious how New Game Plus works. It's option reverse with games with definitive ends. Does that mean the game can actually end? I'm curious as well. I really do wonder, because it's open-ended. Can the game end? How does it end? There's been some good speculation in chat of people saying maybe it has something to do with time travel and kind of multiverse. Maybe not multiverse, but some kind of time travel element going in, or infinite universe type theory. That is multiverse going on. That would be cool. I would really be interested, because of course you have all the multiverse stuff going on with DC, with Marvel, with, I mean, Rick and Morty, if you watch that show. Has always been about it from the get-go. So a lot of interesting multiverse stuff. I'd be interested to see Bethesda's take on it, especially because it's supposed to be this realistic, grounded sci-fi world. Maybe it has something to do with wormholes. Keep in mind, Bethesda has refused, every time it's been asked, Bethesda has refused to talk about black holes. Do with that what you will. So, anyway. I got an NVIDIA GPU for Starfield, but I heard it does not support DLSS since it has AMD. Welcome JS. It has AMD FSR. Should I get AMD GPU instead? No, stick with the GPU that you want to get. Listen, it's going to work fine. The game is going to work fine. You maybe have to lower some settings a little bit to accommodate. Let me know what GPU you got, JS. If I see the chat, because there's a lot, then I'll let you know. But depending on the GPU, you should be fine. FSR works on all GPUs. There you go, that too.
Best friends forever.
Black Hole Gaming, let's go. Leandro Ulo, welcome. Best friends forever. Welcome and thank you for sticking by. Yes, let me catch up on a couple chats here before we get back into some of the elements of the Pete Hines interview. I want to make sure that I'm interacting with you guys as much as I can. And also, just one more time, want to say thank you for sticking by. I do, if you enjoy just hanging out, if you enjoy live streams, we're not doing it today because unfortunately Red Wolf Renegade has things that he needs to do. But Thursdays I've been dedicating to Baldur's Gate 3. So if you want to hang out, if you want to just join in, have some fun, chat, then consider joining Baldur's Gate Thursdays, typically around 5:15 Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. So just want to give that a little bit of a nod. Sorry for plugging myself on my own stream, on my own channel. Hassan, welcome. Just joined. New Game Plus confirmed. It is. Gentleman Quarterly interview with Todd Howard confirmed that New Game Plus, and it's going to be an interesting twist. James Cameron loved Avatar 2, by the way. I also loved Avatar 1 when everyone was given a hard time saying it's overrated and overhyped. I liked it. So there you go, James Cameron. Thanks for stopping by. Of course, that is the real James Cameron. Him and I, good friends, actually. We speak. Friend of the show, James Cameron. I would love if this game gets an online game in the vein of 76. Star Citizen needs real competition. Star Citizen needs to finish the game. For those who have backed that for ages. All right, so let's just start with finishing Star Citizen. I think that ZeniMax Online might be working on a Starfield MMO. I think that ZeniMax Online might be working on a Starfield MMO. They've been very silent for a long time. Just, keep that in mind. Also appreciate all the little hearts and chats and faces that you guys are spamming in that cool name. I will name ship Oatmeal. Nice, Nick. I always I saw someone ask, please don't mention Star Citizen. Just for you, Steven Callahan. I won't. No, I'm not saying they're comparable. They're not comparable at all. But, I saw, Hashim? Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. What kind of build will I be doing? I think that I will probably be running... I have a video that's in the works where I'm going to be talking about kind of different kind of quirks, if you will, that you can play with. But Seraphim, hey, how are you? I don't know if I said hi to you, but welcome. Thanks for joining. It's good to have you here. I appreciate seeing you again. I think what build I want to play is sort of I have a hunch I'm going to lean towards the UC, just a UC loyalist. Stealth Archer. Yes, Stealth Archer in Starfield with my space bow. But I think that I'll probably end up playing kind of a UC loyalist character because I like that idea of the New Atlantis vibe, that space ideal kind of utopia type, or dystopia, most likely. So I think my first playthrough, I always play the generic hero, good guy. The one twist I think I'm going to add on to my character is that I'm not going to invest any points into persuasion or charisma related skills. I think that 100% I'm going to be investing in the starship skills. I want to have an ace pilot for the UC. Probably might go into some of the heavier armor in the game as well, as opposed to the light armor. Definitely using the laser weapons as opposed to more of the conventional firearms that are available. So whatever energy type weapons are there, I'll be doing that as well. I want to imbibe that kind of Star Wars heavy trooper type character with the space, the ace space thing. Probably won't go too hard in the smuggling my first playthrough. But what I will say is that as for ship names, because I see you guys talk about ship names, and I love seeing it. I love seeing what you guys want to play. Yes, Deception, in memory of Alex that passed away. I know many people are doing tributes to Alex for their Starfield ship names, and I have the utmost respect for that. I love that to death. I'll say I'm a big fan of the Outer Worlds humor. It speaks to me. I love it. So when you get your ship called the Unreliable, it was one of my favorite possible things in the world. I think I'll probably end up in a very similar vein, naming my ship the Uneventful. I love the idea of just the absolute, complete, dry humor, rhetorical aspect of what you're doing is what's happening. I also love the idea of a character that will be named something along the lines of, like, you have this epic hero going on these amazing space adventures and you want to name them something cool, and I'm just going to name it something like Alex. Which is interesting. I think I was going to name, or Alan. Yeah, I was going to name it Alan, actually. I want to do Alan, for those of you who are interested, Alan Grissom. And that is a reference to Alan Shepard and Gus Grissom, who are both two IRL astronauts. So I'm going to have just Alan. Alan going on his space adventures as the... I love the idea of having... Instead of doing this cool, epic, awesome name, like you play Elder Scrolls and it's like, I am Leviticus, the hero of the world. Or I am Ignatius. You know, whatever kind of epic fantasy hero name that you could think of. Nope. This is Todd Howard. This is James going on his epic I don't know. I like that stuff. Anyway. I want to be a cowboy, says Mr. Zias. I think I have to subscribe. Please. If you want more than just Starfield, I keep prefacing that. I keep prefacing it. I am not just a Starfield channel. I love that you're here. I love that you're excited for Starfield. Let's be excited for Starfield together. I'm not just a Starfield channel, and I'm going to keep repeating that. All hail the Crimson Fleet. Can't wait to shoot all of your ships. Hey, bud, I read that one. That was from Seraphim. Ship name equals Dave. Exactly, Crashes. Like, I love that. Name the ship Dave. I have a cat named Kyle, like, that's hanging out. I had a cat named Kyle. Like, I love that stuff. It gets me. It's my humor. Nick Does Life Sorry, I'm not allowed to talk about Star Citizen. It was it was an explicit command from Steven. I can't talk Star Citizen. And I'm gonna respect that. Ship name Conquistador. I love it. I love it. Hal 9000, Michael, good one. Ulfric, hey Ulfric, how's it going? I'm gonna play it like Skyrim, join as many factions as I can. They did say that you can do any amount of factions as you want. Thank you for all of you that are here, by the way. I really appreciate you guys hanging out today. We'll get back in a little bit. We'll get back to... So Stormcall is my favorite shout in Skyrim. Yes, Reyna, yes. I did see that. I didn't read it out loud. But Stormcall is a great shout. They did say you could join stream Kyle equals Patty streams. Just Alice says literally same. Stealth Serpent Cultist who is also a family gal and is also in deep debt for their mortgage. I love it. I love it, Alice. Just Alice. That should be that's a good name for your spaceship, actually. I'm gonna be honest. Name your spaceship Just Alice. I like that. Sorry it's late, but I'll be taking Wanted for the free delivered to me loot and the annoying follower and parents for the content. The annoying take that Payasura. Oh, that was bad. I had a voice crack. Ooh. I can't believe it. You here next to me. Sorry, that was one of the worst that I've ever done. Did they confirm prisons like Skyrim as Boxing King? Yes, they did. There are prisons. The prison system is more like Skyrim. Did Pete say only one ending? Damon asked. He did. He did explicitly clipped. God damn it. That was like the worst I've ever done it. He did confirm only one. Well, he didn't confirm only one ending. His phrasing was specific where he said one ending. Or he said ending singular. And that's not the first time someone has referred to the ending as in a singular instance. I can't believe it's you. Yes, you're talking about Oh, I know. He has his profile picture is just Jarl Ulfric zoomed up close. Oh, man. I can't remember the name. You know the name. You know. Okay. Would you prefer an animal companion or an astromech? I think in Starfield I'd prefer an astromech. Alright, let me get back into some of the interesting... So, Pete Hines did also say full mod support is coming. You can create an entire planet. Which, listen... If the question is, can I mod X into Starfield, the answer is yes. So Pete Hines explained a couple specific things that you can mod, a whole planet being one of them. That shouldn't come. Welcome. I don't think I said welcome to you, Autumn, if I didn't, but welcome. Official develop. It has been confirmed via Twitter that you can travel around an entire planet, and as well as spacewalks have been confirmed on Twitter. There you go. Official develop. Official develop what? Yes, you can mod whatever you want into Starfield. The creation kit is going to be released for people who want to mod the game, and I think this is going to have the most supported mod scene of all time, even more so than Skyrim, and people are still making Skyrim mods. It gets me really excited for the potential of Starfield mods. Absolutely, you're going to see plenty of Star Wars stuff that's coming up. People are going to be making lightsabers day one. I would not be surprised if somebody attempts to do a total conversion mod for Starfield where it's just you in the Starfield universe. Especially great timing as you have that kind of space western walkthrough, right? So you really actually are... This is not Aquila. This would be Mos Eisley. And someone mods it as such. I wouldn't be surprised if someone attempts it, if I'm being honest. But you can do, yeah, you can do absolutely whatever you want to mod. We've seen it in the past. It's going to be the same here. Welcome, Sherry. How's it going? I don't know if I said hi to you so far. Red Wolf, hello. We're doing this in place of our stream every Thursday. We do streams for Baldur's Gate 3. So there you go. I don't know if... Does anybody have questions about mod... ETA? There's a question. Any ETA on Creation Kit release? No, it's after the game does come out. There's still going to be day one mods, but we know that typically they're very simple things. You know, maybe someone upreses textures or someone adds music to the main menu and stuff like, or music to the game, that sort of thing. Cold Fear, hello. Are mods free for Starfield? Yes. Yes, mods are free. They've always been free. There's also going to be the... Well, let me first just finish my thoughts about Creation Club. Creation Kit. Creation Kit's gonna come, we just don't know when. If you're interested, you could try to look up about the time that the modding tools for Fallout 4 came out and how long that took. And then also look up how long the modding tools for Skyrim took to come out. I'm sure that information is somewhere out there. Probably be roughly about the same. So there you go. As for Creation Club or mods, will they be free? Yes, they're going to be free. You'll be able to get them through Nexus. If you're on PC, you'll be able to get them through the Xbox main menu if you're on Steam. Now, the one thing that definitively stood out to me, the main menu for Starfield leaked, and there was this bunch of stupid drama, I'm not even going to get into it, about the quality of the main menu screen. That little panel that's at the top that says, "Welcome to Starfield," I'm surprised nobody brought this up. I didn't see a single person bring this up. And I didn't want to add to the drama of the main menu stuff. But what I'll just say now for all of you that are watching, how many people are here? All 350 of you. Jesus Christ. What I'll say for all of you that are here, that tab that's in the top right corner, think of what Bethesda used it for in the past. It was almost exclusively to promote Creation Club content, because of course Bethesda makes money on that. Now, I don't want to get down the rabbit hole of talking about what I think and don't think about Creation Club. Ultimately, what I will say is I think there's potential in it, and I think it can be good if it were done properly, as in if they made big, substantial content. I'm talking DLC-sized mods, and they put it in the Creation Club. That's where, and they valued it fairly. That's the other thing. I honestly can't support the Creation Club at its current prices. There's a video I did on my old channel before I restarted where I mathed out the amount of money that Creation Club content costs when you add it up versus when Bethesda released the Anniversary Edition. And I'm not going to get the exact numbers right, but it was quite literally, the Creation Club content was about $300+ worth of stuff that they were giving away for about 30 when Skyrim Anniversary Edition came out. And that just goes to me the actual value and how much. Now I get it. There's a lot of caveats to it. I'm not going to say I understand the behind the scenes deals because they're working with modders and they're paying modders, and Bethesda has to pay developers internally to make sure that the mods that come out on Creation Club work. So there's a big process there. But I think there's a better line that can be drawn just as a gamer who is mostly against microtransactions as a whole. However, I do see the value and the potential in it. That's the other side. And I'm actually supportive of Creation Club as a whole, as a concept. But it's coming back. So there will be paid mods. Just all of you who are watching, if you're watching me, I suspect you're reasonable and you're logical like I am. I tend to think I'm a logical person for most of my arguments. Don't buy into the drama and the stupidity when it comes around of paid mods and Bethesda when Creation Club inevitably makes its way to Starfield. Please don't join in on that drama. Don't acknowledge it. Don't fight back. Just ignore it. Don't give them the attention. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's supplemental to the main game. Right? So there you go. That's just my... And people are going to try to say that they cut content. They didn't. It was never going to be in the game in the first place because it was made by modders. So, anyway, that's my talk on Creation Club. So do with that what you will. Someone unlocked the frame rate of consoles for one of the first mods. They probably will, honestly. That happened for Fallout, I think. You should go back and play Morrowind. It's quite the game. It's hard to play. I'll be releasing a mod on day 1. Console batch files already prepared. Nexus mod page for it. I'd be interested to know, Jetrico, exactly what you can do day 1. The types of things that are possible. My first game was Oblivion as well, Nick. So there you go. We have that in common. Have they said anything about difficulty options? No, they have not. I know that was a question that was asked during the Q&A that they did between Will Shen, Emil Pagliarulo, and the community. Reign of Stormcall, Morrowind was my favorite. I hope it gets a remaster at some point. I'm really looking forward to Skywind, the mod to bring Morrowind to Skyrim, but I know that has a long ways to go. Is Creation Club so people with Xbox can use mods? No, Chris. That's what I'm saying. There are free mods that will be available to players on Xbox. It was done that way for Fallout. It was done that way for Skyrim. Bethesda would be facing an uproar if they didn't do it for Starfield. It's just supplemental. It's just supplemental. You can still get free mods. Yeah, so as for difficulties, they confirmed stars will be in Starfield. Damn it, Red, you're leaking stuff about... There's stars in Starfield. There's the leak, everybody. Oh, there you go. What is it? So, no difficulty, but I assume it's going to work almost the exact same as it did in past Bethesda games. We have no reason why. And I've accurately predicted a couple things lately. One thing I predicted was the prison system for Starfield. I said that it would probably work like Skyrim's. And I was right about that. And in that same video, I predicted that the difficulty will probably work the same because there's no real reason. There's reason for them to try to make it better and improve it. There's no real reason for them to change it. And so I think it's going to be enemies get more bullet spongy, you take more damage, which I don't like that. I've called that out. So there you go. Spoilers, jeez, man. There you go. Lancelot, it's so good to see you. So anybody watching for the first time, I recognize, like, a lot of you guys. Sips, of course, but you have to join the stream. That's where I get to know you, honestly, the best. I'm getting a lot of more and more comments these days. And I spend a lot of time... Yes, there's no field. There's probably a lot of fields, actually. I mean, look, wait, you're looking at fields... Does the camera look up a little bit more in this shot? There's a field. That looks like a field to me. I'm just saying. Plenty of fields, plenty of stars. This is going to be a fantastic movie. I can't wait for this movie to come out. There's people in the game. Huge spoiler, man. Yeah. DeMarco, go check 1328 of the Starfield Direct. 1328. Character creation? This is the beginning of the game. I can't handle you. I knew there was going to be... I knew, Dane. I knew there was going to be one. I knew there was going to be one. That was like, yeah, this is... So, this is character creation. This is the beginning of the game. This is the opening. You find the artifact. We already know this. In the beginning of the game, you start as a miner. You find this artifact. These guys come up. You probably pass out or something. And then you get to the character creator. All right, I want to get into some more of the Starfield Direct, and let me just, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you can check it out. I don't think it's in the description, but you could find it just on kind of my main YouTube page. It's like the only link there that you can check out. I did do a big thread on Starfield. So, a couple things that I pointed in that, they said hours doesn't matter, so when your favorite reviewer, this was something I did want to, okay, there's two things actually, I'm glad that I looked this up, so going back to the Gamescom footage, Pete Hines said it doesn't matter how many hours you spend in a game, there's just so much content here, which we talked about at the beginning of the stream, so I'm not going to go over that, but when your favorite reviewers turn around and say, I played 100 hours of the game. Yes, it does matter. I'm not saying it to discredit that because there's so much that you know, to experience in this game. So the more you experience, the better. Like, I would probably not be comfortable reviewing Starfield if I didn't have 80 to 100 hours in the game minimum. I wouldn't be comfortable giving early impressions of Starfield unless I had about 30 to 50 hours in Starfield minimum. But he did say the hours mean nothing because there's just so much in this game. He did say that it's still a role-playing game at the core. And this was something that I really liked. I think this was one of my favorite things that he said during this interview. He said it's still a role-playing game at its heart, and your skills will determine what you can and cannot do. I'm hearing notifications in my ear. I'll get to them in just a little bit for some new subscribers. Welcome to the channel, though, in advance, but I'll call you out and I'll give you the shout-out in just a little bit. But I get distracted too easily, so I want to stay on topic. So, Pete Hines said that it's still a role-playing game at its core. Skills determine what you can and can't do. He explicitly mentioned, anybody listening, you cannot use your boost pack if you don't have the skill to use the boost pack. So there's probably going to be people who play Starfield and they're like, well, it's broken, the game doesn't work. Blah, blah, blah. He said you cannot use it unless you get that skill. One of Uncle Pete's tips, he gave about three. One of them was take the jetpack skill either as your first, or if not your first, then your second skill that you take. It's important. But he also mentioned different classes of ships. So I think he hinted at, I need to go back and watch this. This is the one thing I should have went back and watched. But I think he said hijacking a ship and boarding a ship is actually a skill too. So do keep that in mind. It's interesting because one of the parts of Starfield that I'm really looking forward to the most is the companion system, and the way that if you don't have certain perks, they can give you those perks and they can give you those skills. So for example, the advanced targeting, if we kind of skip ahead, I'll just put on an appropriate moment in the Starfield Direct, right? We know about the advanced targeting skill where you can lock onto certain parts of a ship. If you don't have that skill, but someone on board does, you can use it because it complements you in that way. So if you don't want to play this ace pilot character, you can balance yourself out by having companions on board that are good at that. There you go, targeting control systems. I think he also hinted, or he did say, that it was tied to boarding ships as well. That's a skill that you need to have, and you can't do it unless you have that skill. And as a result, if you don't want to be, again, ace pilot, be certain to have someone on board who can do that for you. And I like that. I like when games this might not be the popular opinion, but I do personally like when games say, no, you can't do this. That's not your character. And so you need to go back and you need to either role play a certain character or go into a different skill set in order to do those things. In the case of Starfield, hijacking, jet boosting, and then also you can't just pilot any ship that you want. This was one of the things I really liked hearing. You cannot just pilot any ship that you want in Starfield. They have different classes. He specifically called out an A-class ship and a C-class ship, which is interesting because this is kind of the ship menu. How do you tell what class this is? Oh, here you go. Never mind. It's right there. So this is a C-class ship. So you have different classes of ships, and if you do not spend the time, because we know that Starfield uses this hybrid system where you level up your skills, then you need to use the skill and complete challenges to then upgrade to the next tier of that skill. So you need to upgrade your ship piloting skills by piloting the ship. For a lot of time, you need to use the weapon systems in order to get weapon system skills. You cannot just pilot a Class C ship, which is a higher class, without having done it for a considerable amount of time. So in that, he did say, the other thing was he did say you should be more conscious versus Fallout or Elder Scrolls, and he specifically called this out. He's like, I know how our fans play Bethesda games. In Starfield, you want to be more conscious of the way that you use skills and skill points in the game. And I loved hearing that. I loved hearing that. So that was kind of the next thing I wanted to touch on. Let me see. We have some new subscribers. Nico220491. How is it going? Welcome, dude. Thank you for joining. Katham07, welcome. And Leandro, I believe I said hello to you. Garrett Horsch, Garrett, I saw you earlier in the chat as well. Thank you for being here. Welcome. I appreciate it. It's good to see you as always. Again, I recognize. Well, you guys have to join the streams, though, especially the small streams. If you see 6 people in a stream, come in and chat. That's how I'll learn you. Total Recall 1990 mod would be really cool. Let me catch up on some chats. or get it for free with the spacer background. Yes, you can. That's why backgrounds are also important when you pick your character. Your 3 starting skills that you get through backgrounds are absolutely important. So do keep that in mind. It's been confirmed you can make your own planet. Yes, it has with mods. I noticed an Easter egg of the sky of the night of the sky at night theme in the music. Yes, one of the things that is out there that has been leaked is the soundtrack. I haven't listened to it yet, so there you go. They won't have a Pip-Boy. Your watch is your Pip-Boy. Your watch is the equivalent of the Pip-Boy in this game. Valiant DWC, thank you for an awesome being here. For being awesome and being here, rather. I appreciate that. I am talking a lot and I don't have any water. So we're going to keep piling through, but thank you all for being here. 300 people. We've been streaming for how long now? About 2 hours? Going on to 2 hours. So I hope that you guys are having fun being here. Garrett, do you think we can domesticate some animals because Todd said outposts you can build and harvest resources around the outpost, or maybe a structure that hunts them for you? I don't think that you can. My guess is no, because we saw the one skill in the direct where you were able to tame or kind of I'm using domesticate very lightly, the creature. And I don't know if you could do that. Might be, if I had to guess. I know we had again, thank you for the super chats that have come through, by the way, as well. And I know we got that one from Professor Diehard, who was asking about DLC or predicting DLC. Maybe one of them could be sort of that animal kind of part of it, and domesticating animals. I would like that. I think that'd be cool. You're really getting into it's interesting because Bethesda games are really getting more and more into the sandbox. I think it's incredible how they do it, balancing the sandbox and all the other stuff that they do. That wasn't Todd. Looks like they could be related though. Who wasn't Todd? Hey buddy, gonna send you another message on Discord later. Yeah, by all means. I hope it's good news. You guys are having fun in chat. I love it. Just Alice, I want to see Earth and the Serpent God. I know, I'm so curious about House Faroon. I want the Serpent God to be real. I want the Serpent God, and in fact, my theory is that the Serpent God had something to do with this ancient civilization. There's the bounty, by the way. It just said Bounty Freestar Collective. A lot of credits. My personal guess is that the Serpent God has something to do with the civilization that's disappeared, and I really want that to be the actual correct religion, to be honest. DBZ, Dragon Ball Z Zayn, says, what version did you pre-order? I have not pre-ordered the game yet because I actively tell subscribers don't pre-order. And, I'm not always against hypocrisy. Hypocrisy, do as I say, not as I do. Right? But what I will say is tell people don't pre-order. So if I do ever buy a game, it's usually about a day or two before release. If I want the pre-order bonuses. So there you go. I just like to stick to kind of what I preach as much as possible. Also, there's 300 people. I need to by the gods, Lunar Contact. Thank you so much for the $3 super chat and no message. I just got a lemon grab. Hello. I have to please let me pull something up that's super important to me. And listen, if you can do it, fantastic. If you can't, fantastic. But I need to. Right now, I'm chatting, a link in chat. Right now, for some reason it tagged me. You're going to have to copy and paste this link. Let me explain. Bethesda Australia is doing a charity to raise money for cancer. It's in Australian dollars, so especially if you're in the US, especially in the US, your money goes further because the US is valued higher than the Australian dollar. So, if you can, if you have the means to do so, you're going to have to copy and paste that link. I'm sorry, for some reason, YouTube, because it has the @ in it, it's messing it up. But you can donate to help raise money for charity, for cancer awareness. It was with Game on Cancer, and I've already to put my money, I reminded because I was saying putting your money where your mouth is, or practicing what you preach. I want, the thing that I like most about YouTube is the community. It's the most important thing. It's the most important. Yes, please like the stream, by the way. It's super easy. Just hit the button. We're at 10% thumbs up. We could do better than that. Anyway, I say I love the community. Put link in description. You're right. I can put the link in the description. You're right. Give me 1 second. And I'll do this while I chat, but I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. I'm getting lost while I'm trying to multitask. Way more than 10%? Okay, that's good. I'm not looking at the likes. But I talk about practicing what I preach. One of the things that really mean a lot to me is the community. That's why I'll spend hours responding to comments. Hours. Literally hours. And I'm a small channel. I've updated the channel with the link. Take your time. Yeah, I should really just take a pause, right? I don't. I have already donated 1,000 Australian dollars to this charity. So I like the community. I like growing. And the reason why I like growing is because it enables me to do more with the channel. Whether, if you've ever watched a review on the channel, I recommend you check one out at least. I try to make them entertaining. I do multiple skits, very Angry Joe style. I try to put multiple skits, not the older one, specifically the Redfall one. In particular, I did the most for, and the Jedi Survivor one. But it means I can do more with stuff like that. It also means I can give back. I give back in a multitude of ways. If you were here for Stars for Change, I did an event, Stars for Change. It was a charity event. We raised $2,000. It was actually really cool. St. Jude, it was for St. Jude's charity. They sent over, for doing it, they sent over this St. Jude's backpack, which is super, super cool. A humongous, ultra humongous mouse pad from St. Jude's for doing this as well. And I got a t-shirt and a hoodie. A hoodie with, I guess most people usually stream through Twitch. I did it through YouTube. But they gave me a St. Jude, and then it has on the sleeve St. Jude Play Live. So I love doing that, and I've already donated 1,000 Australian dollars to it. So if you can, the link is in the description. You'll need to probably leave the stream and come back to get it. But if you can. All right, anyway. PC will be 60 frames per second. No questions asked. The older Angry Joe, I hope. Well, obviously my channel is largely around positivity. I don't know what you mean by the older Angry Joe. I still watch Angry Joe. It's mostly just doing the skits, if I'm being honest. You know, that kind of the parodies. Instead of just being a talking head while I do reviews, I want to do a little bit more, and so I do the parody skits. So there you go. Starfield better have Romanceable Bear. Unfortunately, this isn't Baldur's Gate 3, Andrew, but Baldur's Gate 3, I play it every Thursday on stream. You can check it out if you're interested. It's a great game. You gonna pick Dunmer? I always play as a Breton, Julian. Always a Breton, my first time I played Elder Scrolls 6. Will there be spice? You know, spice is the key. Spice is, he who controls the spice controls the universe, but unfortunately, I don't know if we get spice. We have Aurora instead. Great stream, bro. Thank you, Seraphim. I appreciate it. Just Alice. I mean, if Skyrim can do a civil war, then no reason Starfield can't do a holy war. Alice, I love your passion I absolutely love your passion for the House Varun. I really do. All right, let's get into a little bit more of the Q&A stuff from today. Let's see, from the Q&A stuff today, he did say he really likes how crafting works, and I'm glad. We don't know... Jesse, welcome! Good to see you again, Jesse. I don't know if you guys can hear my voice is kind of changing a bit too. That's because it's starting to go a little bit. So Pete Hines said that he really likes crafting. I like that a lot because I'm into the crafting in these types of games too. There's a mod that was really good called Honed Metal for Skyrim, where if you didn't want to play a character that can craft, you can actually pay the people to craft for you, which just made a lot of sense. I don't think Starfield's going to do that, but I wish they could, or they did implement that. But the research system, he said, is really interesting, and it's a really cool system, which I'm very curious how it works exactly. But he did call out the research system, and he did say the crafting system as well was... Again, I mentioned in the beginning of the stream how the word rabbit hole got thrown around a lot. This absolutely was another instance where rabbit hole was thrown around. He said you can get stuck in the rabbit hole of crafting and researching, which I thought was interesting because I've never really... The crafting system in Fallout 4 was done really well, but I never would describe it as a rabbit hole, personally, even though it was very good. I'm not discounting it. And so he did say it's one of the most fun things you can do is the crafting system. And he didn't talk about combat without spoilers, which, you know, around the same time he said, I can't talk about combat without getting into spoilers. I thought that was interesting. You can't talk about the combat, which is a big part of the game, without spoiling. But I want to know exactly how deep the crafting system goes. It's something that we'll have to figure out for ourselves, unfortunately. And I see you guys talking a little bit about some crafting too. DeMarco, have you played the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game? I have not, Andrew. I have not. Unfortunately, I did not have the time. Angry Joe is terrible now, lazier. He's making more money than ever. Yeah, listen, I like Angry Joe. I still watch Angry Joe. I don't want to speak. I try not to speak bad of anybody, right? And I still watch him. I like his content. But no, I have not. Get some water for yourself, bro. Your future self will thank you. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a huge fan of hydration. I'm out of tea. I'm out of water. We'll get some in a little bit. Jesse, yeah, Jesse, it's good to see you again. Thank you for stopping by. Seriously. Turbo, hello. I did not say hello to you. Almost ancient ruins have some sort of serpent reference connected to wiping out serpent civilization. In the Q&A about House Varun, they state that the serpent will return to devour something, so I agree with you. Yes, and if you noticed, you can check out my last video too. The last video that I made talks about different things that I'm talking about today. One of which was that big crater that they showed in the live action trailer. And the cool thing about that was it's actually similar to the Eye of the Sahara, which some people were saying I was wrong on this, but to my understanding, the Eye of the Sahara was the supposed location where Atlantis, the missing city of Atlantis, was. So that was very distinct, and in that spot is where the player character in the live action trailer landed and then found the artifact. So something that disappeared Atlantis in our own lore and mythology is also what disappeared this other civilization? Or there's another theory that I really liked by Garrett, actually, who's here. And Garrett was saying that possibly it's early humans who went really, really far out into space, and it's actually a prehistoric human in that way, race that colonized, and that's why it has the same pattern as the Eye of the Sahara that we have on Earth. So that's a really interesting theory. Red, Red, you did not have to super chat. As far as them talking about the combat without spoilers, it would most likely have something. Oh, also the reason why I like doing the parodies is because I like putting these unique alerts. I like having these unique alerts, and the more kind of parodies that I do, the more alerts that I get for all of you to see. So there's a lot of variation. But thank you, Red. You didn't have to super chat. Thank you, by the way. We've gotten a very generous super chats from each of you, and I appreciate it. You'll notice I don't turn on channel memberships. I don't have channel memberships on because I don't think I make consistent enough content where I should be charging you every single month. Meanwhile, I can't say, hey, I'll get a video out to you guys. So I intentionally keep channel memberships off because I don't think I could deliver the quality that or the consistency that that I feel a membership is deserving. So these super chats really do go a long way for me to keep. But Red, I'm gonna give you that $5 back, just so you know. Might have something to do with the space magic. Yes, it might have something, but you could just talk about it in a more general sense. Again, just to kind of talk about combat a little bit, the early previews of Starfield did explicitly call out that the combat looked very good from what they were seeing, which I think is, again, I think a lot of people are expecting Fallout in space. Some people will likely still feel that way, regardless of how much it has improved or has changed, but this is good. Hey, you can give me the credit now. It's one of the likely locations for the city of Atlantis. Old maps. Yes, I can give you the credit. I'm very sorry. I should have asked. But Garrett actually originally was the one who was calling it out and bringing it to people's attention, and he's right here in chat, so he's a good person to have. It's the kind of community that we build here on DeMarco, dude. Wait, is not being able to go to water and gas planets confirmed? No, it's not confirmed, but it's possible you can't. So there you go. I will not be disappointed at all. I wonder if Earth will still have life left on it. It's possible there's a small settlement that's trying to make it work. I would like to see that personally. Okay, back to the Q&A. Pete Hines did give some general tips for players who are just getting started. One of which was just play it your way, which I've said multiple times in the past. So I'm glad that Pete and I are on the same page. Actually, Pete's copying me is really what it is. But it's fine. Pete and I, long friend of the channel. We go way back. He did say very early on, and this was one of the interesting things, he said very early on, you will want to... one thing that's been confirmed about Starfield, and this was an early interview with Will Shen when they were doing the developer Q&As, was that you get a tour of the settled systems, and you kind of go around and you get to meet all the different factions, the Crimson Fleet, the Freestar Collective, the United Colonies, so on and so forth. And so that's very early on in the game. What Pete Hines said was that you probably will want to spend some time where one of the first factions that you're going to meet is Constellation. And Constellation is based out of New Atlantis. We know this. It's been confirmed. It's not spoilers. Or maybe it is, depending on your idea of spoilers, but it's very light. So you go to New Atlantis, and New Atlantis is where Constellation is based out of. And he said that very early on, you talk to someone in the UC Vanguard, and they will encourage you in some capacity tied to the quest to go visit this museum. It's encouraged that on New Atlantis, you go visit the museum that's there very early on, because it contains a lot of the lore and a lot of the gaps of what's been going on with the history of Starfield. And he said it explains why are these space cultists that worship a giant snake, what's been going on with humanity. Probably talks about what happened to Earth a little bit, even though you can go there and explore it for yourself. We know you can land on Earth. We see the St. Louis Arch. It's pretty much confirmed at this point. So go to this museum, and it'll fill in a lot of the gaps, especially for you lore junkies. You'll want to visit that first. He did say be very thoughtful, which I hinted at this before, but he said be very thoughtful about how you put out your skill points and when you use your skill points. Not like past Bethesda games, so do keep that in mind. He also said something I thought was really, really charming, which was they asked him, what do you want, if content creators after Starfield launches, what do you want the headline to be? And he just said, people are loving Starfield, quote. And I really liked that. I really liked that because I think at the end of the day, it ties into what he kind of elaborated on, which was people like to think of companies as the franchises that they make, the games that are made, the engine that they use, and all these types of things. But he kind of explained the more human side of it, which is easy to forget. At the end of the day, we as gamers are buying a $60 product, and we need to acknowledge that. But there's a lot of people. The one thing that's very unique about the gaming industry is you have people, in Starfield's case, working 8 years of their lives to deliver that $60, now $70 product. 8 years of your life to deliver one product. And so I find the gaming industry is incredibly different from anything else. So yes, we are consumers of your product, and developers, this is a kind of a wider conversation about just game development and how we speak about games and their releases. But yes, you need to release something that works, and you need to release a quality product, but we as gamers also can definitively be more understanding and more sympathetic in some cases before we berate and in the worst case scenarios send death threats, which is completely unacceptable. But he did explain that for him, it's about the people and all of these hardworking people. It's why they like the direct so much, is because you get to see a lot of these people that are there, which you normally don't get to do. And so for him, it's about that. And I really appreciate when he says he just wants people to say, when Pete Hines wants the headline to be "People are loving Starfield," it resonated with me as someone who makes content, and I put my content out there, and people can judge me all the time and criticize what I do and say they hate me, they love me, and everything in between. I understand the fear of putting something out there, and so I understand the relationship of how cruel people can be. So anyway, I think this is going to be truly a once in a lifetime game for a lot of folks. Okay, to get into chat, I love that it sounds like they blended Skyrim's factions with Fallout 4's. They have all their own story, but choice reflects on the main story. This truly is kind of Todd Howard's magnum opus. He's putting a lot into this game, the whole team is, and they're combining the best of all these different elements. If I might be looking ahead too much, but honestly, it gets me excited for Elder Scrolls 6 a lot more, because they're going to take everything that they learn that fans like. Especially keep in mind that one of the major selling points early on was that they're more hardcore RPG mechanics, because Bethesda's been moving away from it. So if that's something that users really gravitate towards and really like, Bethesda will respond and they'll work on that for their next upcoming titles. I like hardcore RPGs. I play D&D. You can't see it. Let me try to move my camera here for all of you. Or actually, let's just do this for a second. I have an entire shelf that's just dedicated to D&D stuff. I love hardcore RPGs. I'm loving the living daylights out of Baldur's Gate 3. And that's what Elder Scrolls is based out of, is D&D. And I want them so badly to lean into that more. And so it gets me really excited how they're blending all of these things together. And with whatever the feedback is for Starfield, how they're going to approach that with their future games. Everyone's curious about gas giants and water planets. We don't yet know. Garrett, I lived in... Yeah, here you go. Garrett, another reason why Garrett's great to have here. I lived in St. Louis while going to school for audio engineering. That's really cool, by the way. You could probably help me out with my audio stuff then, because I have no idea what the crap I'm doing. Drove by the arch every day, and the bit cracks look exactly like dried up bodies of water. The sun is close to correct in the sky. Yeah, it's the St. Louis arch. There you go. What about cities? Is it just the ones we saw? Have they said anything about that? I've missed. Perfect chaos. Chaos. With an X. There's 4 major cities in Starfield. So far, to our understanding, it is Aquila, Neon, New Atlantis, and Sidonia. Sidonia, to me, has never felt like a proper city. I think the fourth one is something secret they haven't shared with us yet, but that's pure speculation, because Sidonia always seems like a outpost, but the thing that contradicts that is Will Shen has, in the Q&A with Will Shen, he talked about how it is a full city with its own story and people and quests and all that stuff, and he calls it a city. So I go flippy-floppy on that all the time. More I flip-flop on that more times than I flip pancakes, which you should only flip once, so that's easy to do, I guess. Depends on how badly we messed up, just Alice. Thank you, by the way, for those of you who have been here for a long time. You've been here for almost the entire time. I appreciate it. I hope you're having fun. What else? Sorry, did you already say that there's multiple ways to get certain skills, like through traits? Did you already say that there's multiple ways to get certain skills, like through traits, backgrounds, and companions? I did talk about that briefly, yes. What I will say, the one thing I didn't call out, I don't think, was, I'm so curious about this faction, the Red Mile, but one thing I did not call out explicitly was that Bethesda and developers at Bethesda did say you'll get the most value out of that type of system, specifically with ships. So do keep that in mind. Do you think we will meet cyborgs? I don't think that's a big part of the game, to be honest. Earth's locations have to be completely leveled. Can't see them recreating too many. There's something that happened to Earth. We don't know what. People speculate meteor. People have speculated climate change. They've speculated the Earth itself has shifted in its axis around the sun. There's been a lot of speculation about what it could be, but Earth is... It's gone. It's gone. It's destroyed. There's some remnants like the St. Louis Arch. There's some remnants like, I'm pretty sure, that space station that we see at one point. You see the, kind of the rocket ship there, the spaceship. That's probably on Earth, but it is going. We can rebuild it. It's not the $1 million planet. $1 gazillion credit planet. Well, it wouldn't be dollar credit. It'd be the 1 gazillion credit planet. I'm going to gamble my well-earned money at the casino of Red Mile. Yeah, there are gambling. There are blackjack machines there. Yeah, Garrett, great point. 10 to 15 years, the RPG mechanics were getting less, or were common. They started getting less common, and now they're kind of coming back. There's a perk called Cyber Runner or Cyber something. Yes, but unfortunately, and we're actually in the character creation section, even if you look at like Cybernetis, it gives you medicine, security, and lasers. And unless they change this because they didn't want to reveal implants in the game, which I don't see why. They mention it, like implants and upgrades available to veterans. It's explicitly here. It's explicitly here that it exists. You once saw a greater future, humans as machine. But it's never ever mentioned. So either it's something that Bethesda's keeping very close to their chest, which is cool, and I can respect that, because the fact that we're still asking about it means they did a very good job of not revealing it and it not getting leaked. So that's really cool, and I'm glad that they kept it. But what I will say is, unfortunately, as of right now, just going on based on what we know confirmed, no. It's pretty cool. I got this right. I got this right in like the third try clicking around.
By the gods, there is a psychopath on the loose.
By the gods, who is the psychopath on the loose? Who's the psychopath? Chris Pinkerton. Thank you so much for the €6 super chat. First time here, really enjoying your stream and looking more forward to more content / live streams. Thank you again. I don't turn on channel memberships because I don't think it's fair to do that yet at this point in the channel's career. So these really do. This is the way you guys support, and it really means so much to me. It means so much. Thank you. And I'm glad you're enjoying, Chris. I'm glad you're enjoying the overall vibe of the channel and the vibe of this hangout. I do have plans for more kind of coverage content where it's not necessarily streams, but more like this podcast. So look forward to some of that stuff. Yeah, so I kind of went through, for those of you that are here, I kind of went through most of the stuff that came out about the Pete Hines interview. They did say that Pete Hines is getting his doctor's notes ready for you if you need to get out of work. He's 6 weeks until Pete Hines has been 24 years at Bethesda. The Starfield live action trailer speaks to not just the tone and what Starfield's about, but exploration and... Oh no, it speaks not just to the tone, but also what Starfield's about, which is exploration and lifting others up with you. Which I like that message, because I'm always about lifting other people up as much as I can. That's what I like most about this channel, is I kind of get a platform to do that more and more. He said the soundtrack is phenomenal. Pete Hines will just leave the game on in the background to let the soundtrack go. I know that the soundtrack is one of the things that have leaked. I haven't listened to it. I'm waiting to hear it in the game the way it's meant to. But what I will say is, Enan, I'll admit I was hesitant because Enan Zur is kind of doing Fallout. He might be doing Elder Scrolls 6. He's doing Starfield. And I kept thinking to myself, and especially early on with some of the early tracks, I went, man, it's good. It's good what we're hearing, but it sounds like Enan. It sounds like his music. So I was kind of like, I love his music, but I wouldn't have minded if a new composer got a chance to do it. Based on what we've seen, what we've been listening to for the past over 2 hours with the Starfield suite in the background, and based on what we saw during the Starfield Direct, I have to say it's blown me out of the water. And I regret anything that I ever said against Enan. I mean, it wasn't really against him, because I have nothing against his music. It was just like I would have loved to see new talent come in. But I do regret saying that I do regret saying that it sounds too similar, because everything that we've heard after has blown me out of the water. And Pete Hines confirmed that with his tweets. I talked about the writing. He talked a little bit about mental health and how much it means to him that people come out and say, hey, I'm had whatever bad thing, or I've just gone through this experience, but your games have helped. I'm glad that he touched on mental health. And I kind of touched on this a little bit throughout the stream as well, but you'll start playing. One of the best compliments he can get is, this is another thing, a measure of success. He said, oh, that was loud. Level up. Thank you, Deception Beats. Great stream, DeMarco, and don't forget your tea. I know, I drank all of it. Any other tea, folks? I don't drink coffee, I drink tea. Always tea. I'm a tea man. I'm a tea dude. I would love to make... I know Jacksepticeye. If anybody watches Jacksepticeye, he made top of the morning coffee. I would love to make a tea thing. I don't know. It's one of those like long-term things that'll probably never happen, but I think about. But thank you. I need to make this bigger. How do I make this bigger? You're champion. Oh, you're you're champion. You are my champion for that very generous super chat. Thank you. Dope stream, my dude. You're dope. Have they mentioned anything about sublight speed between planets within an individual solar system? They did, and what they mentioned was they don't know. It was Pete Hines. He said that he does not know, unfortunately, how that system works. So it's possible. Apparently people in chat have been saying that you can fly around an entire planet. Loco Bo, ting, whoosh, high five, T-gang. Yeah, apparently people are saying you could fly around the whole planet. My suspicion, I'm just saying, this is a guess, is that you have to fast travel. That's my guess. So there you go. Do with that what you will. Is he herbal tea? No, well, this was decaf. I'm trying to wane myself off of caffeine a little bit. I went through a bit of a caffeine overload a little while ago. And so we're trying to Trying to cut back. All right, wait. I realize this has not been playing. Chris Pinkerton, where do you get mods? If you're on console, it will be directly, there will be, if you played Skyrim or Fallout 4, it will be directly on the menu. It will say a section that says mods. There'll probably be mods. There'll be a section that says Creation Club. You just click on mods and you can do it all right in the game. If you're on PC, I highly recommend you check out Gopher Vids. He already released a video. If you're new to modding, Gopher Vids is the place to go if you're new to modding. He said he released a video that explains the tools that you're going to need to prepare for. That he explained the tools that you're going to need to prepare for, why you need them. He goes super in depth. He goes super slow, and no matter how many times he explains it, he always repeats it slowly and explains the why, which is the most important part to me. He explains why. So it's not a lot of modders. They'll be like, oh, just do this and drag this here and put this file there and do this and that. And then you're like, okay, great. And you follow the instructions, but you have no idea why you're doing it. He speaks slow. It's boring. Take the time to listen to it. Take the time to listen to it. You will not get achievements if you download mods, as Starfield Cyborg is saying. However, there's probably going to be a mod that comes out to let you get achievements even if you download mods. That's what has happened in the past. So there you go. The mod announced to create an entire planet was a massive W. Yes, we did know that. Listen, I've said this earlier, but anything involving mods, you'll be able to do anything that you want with mods. They've always allowed it. The fact that they're making the entirety of Oblivion in Skyrim's engine with the mod goes to show that with Starfield, the sky's the limit. It always has been. End of story. And I'm so glad that Bethesda's that supportive. Sasha, I see a chat from you. Welcome, by the way. I don't think I said hi to you. Esteban as well. Welcome. But Sasha asks, where was that chat? I just saw it. Something about Steam Deck? Was it about Steam Deck, Sasha? Yes, anything about Steam Deck compatibility? No, I don't think so, but I assume... The thing about Steam Deck compatibility is I don't own a Steam Deck, but I think all games work on Steam Deck. But some of them are just verified to work on Steam Deck, if that makes any sense. So there you go. Do with that what you will, but I don't think so far, no. So far, no. Is herbal tea Rayna, sorry, Rayna, you did say how to pronounce it. Herbal tea is non-caffeinated. I don't know because I love herbal tea and it doesn't help me wake up. I love herbal tea. I have a whole, listen, I'll go into this tea rabbit hole with you. I have a whole tea everything downstairs, like a case dedicated to it. And obviously Sips of Tea, who's in the chat. When can you play if you use PC? Esteban, great question. When can you play if you use Xbox Game Pass? Depends. So there is an upgrade path. I feel like I should just be a Bethesda community manager at this point. I actually did apply. I interviewed at Bethesda a while ago, believe it or not. And I talked to... who did I talk to? Jason, I think. And I talked to... I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit tired and my mind's is starting to blank more and more on some things. She did the Q&A videos. And she's awesome. Not Jesscapade on Twitter. Fudge. It's gonna bother me if I don't look it up. Sorry. I'm taking a pause to look it up. She's super nice. She's so friendly. Where is she? Her. Where's her name? Show me her name. I'm sorry I forgot. I'm so sorry I forgot. Jess Finster. God damn it. Yeah, Jess Finster. I spoke to the two of them. They were super nice people. I didn't get it, but apparently it's very, very competitive and don't feel bad about it. Best drinks besides coffee for energy? Tea. Duh. Specifically Twinnings. I'll be a spokesperson for Twinnings tea. Twinnings. They're the best. They're my favorite. There you go. Look for Twinnings. It won't autofill. There you Get Twinnings tea. They're the best. Jasmine. They're Jasmine. Well, fantastic. Someone's gonna be like, that's not the best one. Metacritic prediction. Mine is a 93. I was a 92. I raised it by 1 point. Oh, there was another question that came out. There was another thing from the Q&A. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about Xbox Game Pass. If you play on Xbox Game Pass, you can play on, I'm going to talk in specifically East Coast. If East Coast time is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can buy, I think it's either a $20 or a $30 upgrade to Starfield on Game Pass, and that will give you access to the premium edition version of Game Pass. So there you go. Otherwise, if you play on Game Pass, you're going to start with just the normal version. You can play it on Game Pass day 1 on September 6th, or probably September 5th if it's Eastern Standard Time. It's $30. There you go. Otherwise, if you want to play, it's $100 for the premium edition of the game if you do it through like Steam, or if you just buy the game on the Xbox Store. It's $100 for the premium edition, and that gives you the early access, or it's $70 for the base game. But the premium edition also comes with their first expansion called Shattered Space. Metacritic predictions 94, 90, nice. 1 a.m. next Friday with Xbox Game. 1 a.m. Yes, I know. I think, like, for example, Light, who makes Starfield content, I think it's 1 a.m. for him as well. For the UK, yeah. So if you're in the UK, then yeah, I think it's 1 a.m. because that's what I believe I heard him saying. Gene Mark. I like, you have Mark, like DeMarco. I like it. My ship will be called the SS Gimme Dat. Nice. Companions. Filta. I wonder if you can control an entire fleet. So that was yes, that was where I was getting distracted. You can not have a fleet. This is not a, Pete Hines, that was the other thing. During the interview, Pete Hines did say with Gamescom, he did explain you're not flying around controlling a fleet of ships. You can have multiple ships. You can have multiple ships, but you, based on the mission that you're going on, for example, you might be doing a cargo mission or an escort mission where you need to be able to fit more people on your ship. You can pick different ones. You could store away different ship types, but you're not flying around with an entire fleet going through the stars. So you need to have your individual things. At Mr. Zias says you can have convoy lines. What I think, I don't know if that's kind of getting from leaked stuff. Please, let's keep it out. But what I do know is you can set up supply lines between your outposts, which is something very similar to what you had in Fallout, but this time, obviously, it's on the scale of space. I prefer Celestial and Stash, but I do have 1 box of Twinnings. Interesting, because I actually don't like Stash. I don't like Stash teas. I don't know why. But listen, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're wrong and I hate you. There you go. Do you think you can hyper jump out of combat? So, yeah, there's another thing. You guys are bringing up stuff that I didn't take notes of. But Pete Hines did express the ability to play Starfield the way that you want to play. And in doing so, he explained that you can, if you don't want to get involved in ship combat, grav jump away. Just grav jump away. If you don't want to deal with the space combat, fly away from it. You can absolutely do that. So you can grav jump into combat, grav jump out of combat. You can really play Starfield however you want to do. It's done in a clip. This is exactly the clip. So they're in combat and they're getting shot at. You see the things shaking and then boom, getting out of there. Who's hating on Starfield? No, he was saying he drinks Celestial tea, and I was saying you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're wrong and I hate you. That was really great timing. That was really great timing to ask that question, Starfield. But there you go. Pete Hines did say that. Ace Herb, will you be playing all night or sleep before the sun rises? Well, I have work. I'm taking off work probably Friday. I have to ask off. But I'll probably do into the night. I just don't know if I want to do it on the day it comes out, like it's out at 8 o'clock and I stream it, or if I go and do it on the Saturday or the Friday, because it comes out Thursday. I don't know what time. I don't know. This is questions. No one cares, to be honest. We're all grown men. And grown women. We have some women, grown women in this chat. Dane, there you go, buying on PC. PC is a bit, I'm not saying, I'm not a console or platform elitist. I'm not, anyone who says I am is an idiot and doesn't know anything about me. But I will say, for Starfield and just Bethesda games in general, PC is the place to do it because, of course, you get access to all of the mods that you, like, you can't have a script extender on consoles, which a lot of mods rely on. So you can get a lot more mods. Where did he talk about his playthrough and becoming wanted for disobeying orders? That was during the Q&A today. He talked a little bit about that and the bounty system. So there you go. I want the Great Serpent spacesuit. I want all the spacesuits. All Starfieldians. Welcome, Andrew, if I didn't say hi to you before. They haven't sent codes for PC. I'm worried about that. No, they did. There's people playing on PC. There are people playing on PC. Don't worry. In fact, Todd, during the interview today, I think, said people who are playing it on PC have said it's a very smooth experience. 3070 should be good, right? You'll be fine with the 3070. All right, so I think when will the review embargo end? 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, August 31st. The minimum is a 1070, I think. The minimum. The recommended is a lot higher, and Pete did emphasize you want to upgrade your specs for your PC if you can. But with a 3070, you should be okay. So there you go. You could check out, just go on to Steam, and you could see the specs there. And if you're in the middle, then you're perfect. All right. I think we're gonna call it, get in some of your final questions that you guys have. But before we do, in the description, I'll send out the link one more time for you guys. Again, the link is going to break, so you'll have to copy paste it if you can. But again, Bethesda in in Australia is doing a charity for cancer. If you have anything to give, you can follow that link. You'll have to copy paste it. You can donate to them to help support that cause. I'm not just asking you to donate. As I've said earlier, I've already put 1,000 Australian dollars towards it. So there you go. And if you're interested, let me just pull up one other link, in case you guys are like, oh, what are you talking about? You're lying. I'm not lying. You can... You can check out this link here, copy, and we'll paste it. You could see kind of, if you follow that link, it'll take you to the overall page for the cause. And you could see all the different communities that have donated and raised money. Mine is among them. I heard the robot can say your name. I was wondering, could you make your name anything? Look, Garrett, what I would do, it's not going to be everything. What I would do is look at what names Codsworth can say from Fallout 4. I assume the list is going to be very similar, if not a little bit expanded. So it's not absolutely anything. KJ, where can we view? Go to search in, try to find Bethesda Germany's Twitch channel, and the broadcast, the VOD should be on there. I'll see if I can't find it for you guys now, actually.
With Best Ball on DraftKings, your actual lineup is your...
Yep, shush. So I believe this should take you to the stream. You have to skip far in because it's like a long stream, so you have to skip pretty far in. Once you see Pete Hines sitting down, then you know that you're there. Freestar or United Colonies? Andrew, I think... I think I'm a UC guy. I think I'm a UC person. I think I'm a UC person. I love the space western. I do. Julian, unfortunately, make a poll. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Make a poll. Freestar Collective. UC. Option. I go my own. There you go. Poll. Dane, I'm glad that you stopped by. If you don't normally stop by streams, it's a pleasure to be able to have gotten to speak with you today. And it's an absolute honor that you decided to join mine. Did I acquire the watch? No, I don't have. Obviously, I put my money towards other things. I put my money towards other things. I didn't have the money to put into the Constellation edition of the game. So there you go. But, you know, hang out, you know, especially, again, just to read, I know I've said this multiple times, but it is because it's genuinely important to me. For me, making YouTube content is always about the community. Like, first and foremost, it's about community. So you guys who are here, if you're subscribing or if you are subscribed, I'm not just a Starfield channel. Of course, I'm covering a lot, and Bethesda Softworks. So that means Arcane, that means Machine Games, who's working on Indiana Jones, and naturally Bethesda Game Studios titles, is at the core of the channel, but I really want to be more of an RPG channel. So if you're here and all you care about is Starfield, come along for the ride. I'm happy to have you for the journey, but there are other channels that might be better suited if that's all that you care about for you. So yeah, after Starfield, it's going to be Elder Scrolls 6, Indiana Jones from Machine Games I'm looking forward to, probably Outer Worlds 2, Mass Effect, absolutely, The Witcher 4, I'm really looking forward to. Boxing King, here we go, we're going through it. I love The Witcher. I actually have all behind me on the shelf, all the Witcher books. I'm currently on, this is number 4, I'm currently on the last one. I'm messing up my shelf. I ruined it. This was a bad idea. That was a bad idea. Alright, there we go. Here for the skits. Nice. Yeah, I like doing the skits. I also want to go more into the reviews, just of broader games. Because the reviews, if you watch my Redfall review, I am so unbelievably proud of the Redfall review. And that is with that is with the channel just getting started. So I like to think 2-3 years from now what I'm going to be able to do with some of that stuff. And honestly, the goal for me, if anybody knows Viva La Dirt League, the YouTube channel, I would absolutely love. Go My Own Way is winning, and Freestar Collective, I guess I'm in the minority. So if anybody wants to watch a Let's Play, The Witcher did, yeah, the Witcher Netflix show, just don't watch it, it's not worth it. Follow Garrett apparently as well, because he might have a premium code to give away. Yeah, if you want to watch a Let's Play, I plan to take my own attempt at doing a Gopher style Let's Play. Like, I won't even have the face cam on. I won't have the face cam on. I'll be doing it very much like that for the sake of immersion. And if you're into that sort of thing, I'll be taking my stab at it. Don't expect to be as funny or entertaining as Gopher. He's been doing it for years. But I'll probably be doing UC. And seeing as how 25%, the minority of you guys, are voting for UC, you might get a different perspective than what other people are playing. Assuming that this is a representative of the wider community out there. It's a shame. It is a shame, Chris, what Netflix did to The Witcher. Read the books, though. If you like to read the books. If you like the games, please read the books. If you don't like to read the books. I know. Yeah, Garrett, me too. Me too. But we need to see your face. Yeah, the point of doing it, I know, handsome face. I know. I'll take that as that's what you were going with there. It's more about, because it's about the character, right? And that's what I want to go with, is you get more. I notice if I have the camera on, I act a different way because I want to be more animated, versus making it about the character and making it about more like a TV show, like you're watching a television show or you're watching a movie of this Let's Play. And I like that. Maul! Hello! High five, welcome. I never know if that's supposed to be this or if it's supposed to be a high five. I'll high five for you. There you go. I don't know if that got clipped off. Fallout remasters. Yes, if there's anything with Fallout. Am I hyped for Metal Gear Solid 3 remake? I've never played a Metal Gear Solid game. So, honestly, yes. I'm very excited for Metal Gear Solid remake. Fallout remasters, absolutely. Glad I subscribed. Love seeing awesome creators. Thank you. I'll be looking out for Starfield gameplay stream to hold me over till I can get my PC. Have a good one. Thank you, Dane. Okay. All right. I just saw the high five. Mind blown. Pretty sure it's a prayer. I think it is too. It could be both. If you ever go to give somebody a high five, do that. Like, just... and then put your hand down. Annoys everybody. I do it all the time to people. Okay, yeah, I think, right, it could go both ways. It could be two people. I think it's supposed to be prayer, but... Fallout 4 Next Gen Remaster probably pushed to 2024. I gotta be honest, I completely forgot about the remaster. But yes, it'll probably be... it'll probably be more in sync with the, more in sync with the TV show. Movie aesthetic is what got you my subscription. Movie aesthetic? You'll have to clarify that one, but welcome, Valmir. Okay. So yeah, this is what I was saying before. If you guys keep chatting, I'll keep dragging it out because I have, I'm bad at goodbyes. fair Cyborg. When will there be multiplayer? There won't be multiplayer. It's a single player game. Unless somebody mods it. Of course, you know, we have things like Skyrim together, which I guarantee you someone's going to do Starfield together at some point. What's my most hyped thing for Starfield? My most hyped thing is... it's going to sound so cheesy. I'm not pointing because it's going to sound so cliche and cheesy, but it's honestly the most hyped thing for me is the amount of passion that Bethesda put into this game. Because I don't think I've ever heard Bethesda talk about a game the way they've talked about Starfield. And I've been a supporter of this game from day one. Everyone was trying to hold Fallout 76 against it. It's people who didn't like Fallout 4 are holding that against it. I've always said, no, listen, Starfield is going to be different because they're going back to those other things that they did, that they liked. I've always been behind from that mentality. I can't wait for the disposition to turn around. And the reason why I will have always been like that is because... Starfield, just simply the way that they talked about it. And so that's what I'm most excited about. I wish I could sleep too. Alright, anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. The poll ended with most people going their own... Freestar Collective and UC very close. Most people go in their own way. So that's pretty cool. And I do think that Starfield is going to offer you the opportunity to do that. Giving your playthrough a movie-style aesthetic. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I'm probably going to do it on a separate channel, though. So just so you know, because I don't want people on this channel to be bothered with a Let's Play. Most people probably don't care. What is the most wanted thing you'd like to... You guys are going to keep me going. Thank you, DeMarco. It was good, positive, great stream. All of that. Peace and blessings to you, too. What is the most... This is the last question. Last question. Nice glasses. Thank you, Zarcaster. I got them today. The poll results, 26% said Freestar Collective, 23% said United Colonies, 52% said screw them. Also, welcome, Zarcaster. Good to see you again. I'm glad that you stopped by. Yeah, last question. What is the most wanted thing you would like to see in the game? The most... You see tyrants, Chris. I love you, Chris. The most wanted thing I want in the game. Good timing. We're getting to the end of the Starfield Direct and the end of the stream. The most wanted thing I would like is for Bethesda. You'll see it. You'll see it. Follow this channel. I'll make a post about it when I'm ready to start doing that content. I'll make a post about it, so just keep an eye out. The most wanted thing for this game, for me, is I really want to say the choice and consequence in the game. I think that's what I love most about Bethesda games, and something that, there you go, Chris said it, impactful choices. What I like most is that when you play and you genuinely feel like no two playthroughs are going to be the same, because you've done things that are completely different from what you've done ever before. And I love the idea that the world can respond to what you've done in a creative and a unique way. And I hope that Starfield does that better than they've ever done in any past Bethesda game. And from what they've talked about a little bit, it sounds like they are, and that's the direction they're going in. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know what an existence that exists put that redacted their message, but there you go. All right, that was the true last question. Thank you guys so much for being here. I always appreciate it. And this stream was insanity. I think we had like 300 people, over 300 people at some point. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention because I was just chatting with you guys. So thank you. And as always, I hope to see you all next time. So long, everybody. Subscribe, and check out my Twitter if you haven't already. Oh, and you know, check the one more time. I'm gonna do it one more time before everybody leaves. One more time before everybody goes. Hold on, I gotta plug it. If you can, if you have the opportunity to, just not that one. Sorry, that was the wrong one. All right. Find me on Twitter. Check out my pinned post, and if you can, consider donating. Go to Twitter. Check out the pinned post. I will leave a link to my Twitter, and consider donating to the you know, Bethesda's charity that they're doing if you can, and I would really appreciate it. There's no reward. There's nothing. It's just if you want to. So there you go. Thank you guys, and good night.